Hey everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of the Exposition Table. I'm your first host, Joe.
And I'm Dan.
And we have a special kind of video for you this time. Another tier list.
Oh yeah, this is happening.
As a wise man once said.
We are going to be... Now I'm here too, so... I missed out on the first tier list because I had nothing to say about Monster Rancher, but I am here to talk Sonic. I can talk about Sonic.
Yeah, this is Dan's specialty. Well, I have plenty of experience with Sonic myself.
Sonic is probably my favorite. It's probably like my favorite media franchise, if not tied with like Power Rangers and Super Sentai and everything else. So basically, like, as far as video game, Sonic's my favorite franchise, indisputably.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do here is we are going to be mutually ranking these games together. Joe and I have to come to a consensus.
Yeah. We're gonna have
We have fairly similar tastes, but
I know there's a fair few games.
There's a few we're gonna have to argue about here, so it's gonna be fun though.
And as Dan's a big Sonic fan, there are just gonna be some games where he's gonna have the floor.
Yeah. You are not going to be able to argue with me about Sonic Rivals 2, Joe.
Yeah, so putting his faith into having some pretty good takes.
Oh,
or not. I don't know, it's up.
You guys can let us know your takes in the comments. Let us know how wrong we were about your favorite Sonic game. Or your least favorite Sonic game.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to see what you guys think.
There's gonna be some surprises here, I think. Maybe not. It depends how you feel about the current sort of wave of the Sonic fan base. I feel like tastes are starting to change, and I feel like what was once... I feel like a lot of my... This is gonna make me sound like a hipster, but a lot of the sort of tides shifting, I've kind of never really changed my opinions on, and you guys will see that as we get into some of the... Obviously, it's mostly with some of the later titles, but yeah.
Yeah.
But we gotta start somewhere, so let's start
with where Sonic started. Alright, so how are you feeling about Sonic 1?
I guess if you want to break down what you would consider each of the tiers, and notice there's no clever or funny names to indicate them.
Okay.
So if you just want to give a sort of breakdown of like what each sort of tier is.
Of course. Why didn't I ever think of that? Alright, so I'm pretty much using the template from the Monster Rancher video, except I added an E tier, because there's just more games to weed out. So yeah, pretty much.
Because Sonic games have E ranks as well.
Yeah, I'm just fitting in with the Sonic status quo. Alright, S is pretty much games that we adore and we'd like place in like our like top 20s or whatever. Like games that we really love. Not necessarily saying that they're perfect, but these are games that we feel are actually excellent.
Yeah. Well, they're perfect to us, but not to you.
Yeah. A is just, this is really freaking good. B is above average. Like, this game's pretty damn good, but I can't quite say it's like amazing overall or anything. C is alright. Like, it's good and it's fine enough entertainment. It's either very mixed or very mid. D is when the problems start showing. Like, D tier games are just games that we just don't really think too highly of. Could be janky. Could just be a game that just doesn't hit us in the right spot. And E are just things that we think are actually bad.
And you guys are going to see that our perspectives are not always entirely based on just how solid the gameplay is. We kind of look at the franchise in a very different angle. So, you know,
yeah,
games that maybe are a little more obvious may not immediately be on there.
Yeah, like Sonic games in particular, like they're kind of a melting pot of a bunch of different things. like something that Dan likes about Sonic and something I might not like. That'll be very visible in the midway point. Is that there's also just different formulas Sonic has taken over the years.
So I think what I want to do first is I'd like to establish our base. So let's put one in S tier and one in E tier. For E tier, let's make it easy. Just put Sonic Free Riders in there.
Okay.
We haven't even played that game, but let's just put it in there. It's just kind of like a... I'd like to establish a base. Free Riders.
Alright. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to argue that Free Riders really deserves much clout.
And then, do you agree at what I would say would be the top? Or at the very least, do you agree it belongs in S tier?
Oh, which one's that?
What do you think?
Sonic Adventure 2?
Will you argue that?
No, I'm not going to argue that. Like, if any Sonic game's going to be up there, it's going to be Adventure 2 for many a reason.
We could talk about Sonic Adventure 2 for ages, and we probably will when comparing other games that are falling short, but simply put, Adventure 2's got the gameplay, it's got the cinematics, it's got the extra content, it's got the soundtrack, it's got the visuals, it's got the lore, it's got
side content. It's a whole... It is...
The Chao Garden.
The whole
First games
package.
I can recall having, like, a main menu hub and all this. Like, it felt like you were getting a full package with this game. You were getting the whole shebang.
And considering how a lot of Sonic games are, that is quite extraordinary when you're looking at the rest of the series.
It's actually kind of sad that there's a lot of Sonic games that come out now that lack as much content as a game from 2001.
Yeah, an admittedly impressive game from 2001, but still.
Sonic Adventure 2 may be my favorite piece of media ever created. As I get a little older, I start to see a little bit more of the cracks, but I don't think it will ever, sort of change my opinion on there. And, for a lot of people, this is already going to put them off of our list. They're like, oh, you're just an Adventure 2 fanboys. Well, the game's not that good. It's so jank. It's so... Well, first of all, just make sure you play the original Dreamcast version or the GameCube version. While the Steam version's not bad, it does have a decent amount of technical issues. And also, this is a biased list. This is based on our personal preferences.
Yeah. As we were saying, S isn't perfect. This is just the Sonic game I think provides the most good things.
Yeah. Sonic Adventure 2 I could talk about forever. I'll just say, in terms of gameplay, it's got some of the tightest mechanics in the franchise. It's really solidly held together. A lot of Sonic games, a big issue is going into them for the first time and not really knowing how to play them. Adventure 2, I wouldn't say is quite like that, but I will definitely say, I don't really think there's too many Sonic games that I can say you can just pick up and play and just beat easily if you're like a kid.
Yeah.
Because they all kind of require a little bit more skill than I'd say a Mario or something like that, for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could talk forever about Adventure 2. Let's move on. Let's go back now historically. Let's go through, now that we have our baseline, our top and our bottom.
Yeah.
Let's go through the rest of them.
I'd like to submit an apology to Free Riders because we literally did not explain anything about it.
I mean, what do you need to explain? Has anyone ever watched a video about Sonic Free Riders? It's a Sonic game that's played on the Kinect for the 360. Sonic Free Riders does not exist as a video game. It is a Kinect video game that does not work. The only other game that might be in that tier in terms of being that bad might be like Sega Superstars for iToy. And even that I would argue works better. No one even cares about the story. There's some okay story stuff in there. Metal Sonic's dressed as Brobot from an episode of Jimmy Neutron. Whatever, who cares?
Alright.
There's an Amy's team. Who cares? Who actually cares?
Yeah, I'm going to just shove Free Riders in the bottom of E. If I put an F tier, it'd be there, and the F would stand for Free Riders.
I mean, and look, something that's going to be important to mention is that for any Sonic game, we can say, oh, but the music was good. Because every Sonic game has good music. Except for, one or two, and we'll talk about those.
Yeah,
I could talk about how great...
That's like ranking a burger joint higher because it gave you the calories to live your day. Like, yeah, it fed you, but like any burger can feed you.
It's like giving a restaurant points because they serve water.
Yeah. So, Sonic.
Well, there's no point elaborating on Sonic Free Riders.
Yeah.
Let's get on to Sonic 1.
Yeah, Sonic 1. Like, it's not even my favorite Genesis game, but it's easily the one I've played the most.
I am not a particularly huge fan of Sonic 1, and this is where we're gonna have already one of our big splits. I think it is poor design to have the second world be Marble Zone. I think it completely kills the pace of the game. You can even see in the code of the game, Marble Zone was meant to be later on in the game. So they shuffle it around. Spring Yard was meant to be after and go forward from there, and Marble was meant to be one of the later. And I think in that regard, Marble Zone is just, for me, a very unfun level, and it kind of kills the flow. And frankly, I'm not a big fan of the rest of the levels here.
I am a Marble Zone truther. I think Marble Zone slaps.
How do you feel about the rest of the game besides Marble Zone?
Okay. Green Hill Zone kind of speaks for itself. I think we all know what Green Hill Zone is.
Yeah.
Spring Yard's fairly solid. Labyrinth Zone is actually just kind of shit. And
Not fun.
Starlight's pretty good.
How do you feel about it mechanically? Since that's really going to be the big difference with the Genesis game, it's going to be mechanics.
Yeah, Sonic 1 is obviously pretty simple. Like, you don't have a spin dash, at least not in this version. You just, like, roll with your momentum, you just have a jump, you spin. Yeah, like, I do think Sonic 1 can find a place at the bottom of B, personally.
I would say B. I'm willing to give it B, because I think that the other Genesis games are going to rise higher than them. And while I'm not personally a big fan of 2D Sonic, I can definitely say that Sonic 1 is a solid title, especially for the time it came out in, being the Mario killer. You know, obviously, anytime people do lists like this, they always give historical prevalence to the first one. On its own, it's a solid enough title. You know, it feels very much more like an NES game, if it makes sense. Like, it's very mechanically NES. Like, very simple, straightforward.
It very much has a lot of old school platformer.
Yeah, it feels the most
tropes.
Like an old school game than the rest of the Genesis library, which being the first game should hopefully make sense.
Yeah.
It should feel the oldest, but, you know.
Yeah, so depending on how you think about certain gimmicks or philosophies that pop up later, that will probably influence what you think about Sonic 1 in comparison to the others.
And the good thing is that, you know, unlike, are we gonna have, once things are in, are you locking them in, or are you...
I can shuffle them around.
That's one of my least favorite things in tier list videos, are where people like, we're not changing them after we've done them. It's like, bro, what?
Introspection is how opinions are validated.
Speaking of being validated, it's Tuesday, isn't it?
Sonic Tuesday.
It's on a Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. I think Sonic 2 is as good as Sonic 1. I actually don't put it above it.
I would put it above it. I think overall, I think most of the zones are better. I think mechanically it's better. But yeah, I'm not like that much more of a fan of it.
It's like
I don't know. I would make the argument of it being low A, but I could also see putting it as a high D.
Like,
also,
I think
we should probably say right now, I think it'd be easier if you just moved them further to the right instead of up and down on the tier for indicating quality. Because I know you said you put Free Riders at the bottom, and it's like you should just put it at the end.
Alright.
Free Riders, I don't know if anything else is gonna be in that tier, but like,
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be
up and
at
down.
least one more E rank.
Yeah,
I
would say
could
just,
think of a
put 'em
couple.
just put them left and right. So like instead of having to be like,
Yeah.
So
Alright.
we can worry about the placement later. So would you say that Sonic 2 should be higher or lower than Sonic 1? I can make the argument that it should be a lot higher. I could make the argument it could be low A, but I'm also willing to settle with like.
You know, I'll compromise to put it high B. My reasoning is I think Sonic 2 really falls off from the second half.
For me, Sonic 1 falls off after Green Hill Zone. So, for me, I'd rather have a half a solid game. Like, yeah, Lava Reef's pretty.
That's Sonic 3.
Oh, damn. Alright. Well, I'm showing my hand a little there. Yeah, no, Sonic 2. Yeah, Sonic 2 doesn't have the greatest.
Like, I've never had fun in Oil Ocean. Wing Fortress is kind of boring. Metropolis.
Wing Fortress is more of a classic Sonic set piece. One of the first Sonic set piece levels. It's really the, predecessor to Ice Cap and the other Ice Cap and the gun truck and the whale and, all that stuff.
Yeah, like that's the thing. So I find Sonic 2 to be incredibly fun to start, but it just kind of loses me once I get past the first few zones, which are admittedly excellent.
We'll keep it as it is, and perhaps as we get further along the list, some of the other games will fall a bit short, and you might think, yeah, in reference, maybe Sonic 2 is a little better.
Yeah, maybe I am putting a little too much gas against it, but perspective will help.
I think we'll keep it comfortably in a B tier. I would say I put it a little bit above Sonic 1. Both solid games, but I personally feel that Sonic 2 is just overall better. I think most people would make the case that
no. I am being a weirdo for saying that I don't think it's much better than Sonic 1.
Do we want to go... Which sequel... Where do we want to go next? 3 or CD?
Okay. I feel like 3 is going to be... I don't know if 3 is actually going to be that big of a conversation. Sonic CD... Yeah, I'm just going to go CD first.
Alright, where are we putting this? D?
I'm feeling D.
I'm feeling D.
Like...
C or D? No, C was not a very consideration. That was just a joke.
Yeah. Like...
It's not E tier. It's not a bad...
It's not a bad game. Like,
it's just really not fun.
It's like... It's the Donkey Kong 64 of Sonic games. There's just too many annoying tasks you have to do.
I can see that. I think there's other Sonic games that fit that bill more.
Certainly. But
I would say that Sonic CD's a game that is severely hampered by over-ambition.
Yeah.
Trying to be super crazy and flashy, have these time travel mechanics that require like a fucking... Like, you literally have to... it'd be easier to just get struck by lightning than to set up time travel.
You want to break out your Sonic CD spreadsheet? And it's not one of those games where you have, like, a level select, you can take your own pace. No, this is a linear 2D platformer.
And some of the time travel isn't even necessary because of... Like, isn't going to the future just pointless? Because you can't change anything in the future.
Yeah.
Am I correct? It's been a long time since I played any Sonic CD, so I just want to make sure I'm accurate on that.
I don't recall. I don't think it's actually like optimal to ever see the bad future.
Yeah. It's not optimal because you have to fix things either in the past or the present. Going to the future doesn't actually change anything.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Like the fact that bad future keeps being the canon one.
Yeah, like, if you're trying to do everything, it's annoying. But if you're just trying to play the game like a normal platformer, the levels are incoherent, and the bosses are, like, aggressively mid.
They're super annoying. Yeah. Sonic 2 and Sonic CD are a weird case of two very different ideas of what Sonic the Hedgehog are. And Sonic 2, we would say at least is by trying to be so, like, mechanical. Sonic... It's like they took two different sides of what Sonic 1 were and decided to make sequels on that. Like, Sonic CD plays on the Sonic 1 engine, where Sonic 2 was a new style with new mechanics.
Yeah.
It's clear which ones stuck and which ones did. No one's requesting the peel out comeback. Well, some people were, and then they brought it back, and it was really awkward and terrible to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sonic CD, there's not much more that we really need to say.
Yeah. It's like, okay, like, I guess you gotta give props to, like, introduce several, like, important things to the series' lore.
Probably one of the few times that I would say the Metal Sonic is pretty cool. I'm not the biggest Metal Sonic fan, but, in Sonic CD it was handled well. The FMV cutscenes were really nice, even if they were crunched to hell on the Sega CD version. If you play it on the Gems collection, or if you play it on the modern ports, you get the full high-resolution cutscenes, which are really nice. Sonic Boom or Toot Toot Sonic Warrior, both classics.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not going to talk much about the music, but considering the time that Sonic CD came out, you gotta give some points for, like, the quality. I mean, to be fair, like, the CD music was probably one of the biggest reasons you were even buying this damn thing on the Sega CD.
Speaking of music, this game is also pretty well known for having 2 soundtracks.
Yeah. That's why I credited both theme songs.
Yeah, it's like... it's just worth noting. Yeah, I guess we should mention that, yeah, Sonic 2 and CD just add a lot of stuff that the series would be using time and time again.
Yeah.
Sonic 2 brought you Super Sonic, the Death Egg, Tails. CD brings you Metal Sonic and Amy.
This next game is it literally brings so much that it's at the end of the title of the game.
Yeah, you know how we were talking about Sonic Adventure 2 being, like, the full package? Sonic 3 is that in 2D.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I want to see where you want to put this first.
I'm not bottom of S or top of A, in my opinion.
For me, I don't think that Sonic and Knuckles has as good of levels. For where you feel that Sonic 2 kind of dips off halfway, I feel like Sonic and Knuckles kind of feels like a whole game of dipped off halfway. I don't think it's bad, but I think Sonic 3 has such brilliant level design, and I think Sonic and Knuckles is kind of a little lacking comparatively. A lot of the zones really don't stand out for me as much. When I play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I tend to bow out around Flying Battery. I get a full playthrough of 3. I mean, it's still fantastic. Still the levels are really good. Good theming and all that, but I just feel like the and Knuckles half. I'm weird. I prefer to play Sonic 3 and then just call it a day. Sonic and Knuckles has never clicked with me as much. Like, I don't think Sonic and Knuckles is bad. I just think it's like, you're trying to follow up on, like, some of the best levels. And then I feel like it just doesn't quite hit. So, I'm willing to put it at a low S, but I would put it more at a high A. Like, I'd say it's like one of the top games, but
we'll see how we feel about any other games that find their way up here. Like,
I do think that there are games I would put, certainly a few games I would put above Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Even taking my personal bias of not being a big 2D fan into account, I do think that there's at least 1 or 2 other games that I would say shine above. But, I'm certainly gonna say that Sonic 3 and Knuckles probably, at least in the top 5 of Sonic franchise in terms of games. So.
Yeah, and, like, this is, like, the first time the story's really expanded.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first game that
the only reason I'm being downer is because everything else is so good. Like, I'm shit-talking it, but also saying it should be, like, at least A, if not S tier. So that obviously means that, like, the game's good. The lore is good. The story's good.
Yeah.
Talk more about it, because you were about to get into it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, how do you follow up the Sonic destroying the Death Egg? He's achieved this new powerful form, and fresh out of the microwave, Knuckles just punches the super out of him.
Bro, knock, it's Knuckles.
Yeah, like, the story just literally punches you in the face, and it's like, oh, this guy's been tricked into thinking you're the bad guy by the old bad guy.
Yeah.
The first level, it's like the jungle gets lit on fire. Like that's so dynamic that hasn't happened before.
The storytelling in the game actually is really compelling. Like the fact that there are not voiced cutscenes, and yet you learn so much about how the levels are changing and altering. Never quite as much as Angel Island, but you know, Mushroom Hill, they do something similar where it goes from spring to autumn.
Yeah.
You know, they're more subtle in later levels, but there's still that idea. And the level transitions, where you actually see a little cutscene of the characters going to each world.
Sonic snowboards for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah, I just feel like this is the game that kind of feels like well, I guess it is the literal bridge between the Genesis and Adventure era.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fine with either low S or high A.
I'm gonna put it on low S for now. I don't know, it feels right. Like, I feel like these two games in particular, Adventure 2 and 3 and Knuckles, kind of complement each other.
Yeah. And we'd be remiss to not mention the whole, you know, the Mario 2 level fact about Sonic 3, which is, did you guys know that Michael Jackson worked on Sonic 3? Except it wasn't, it was Brad Buxton who did most of it. Michael Jackson's a sound composer.
Yeah.
And it's good. It sounds very Michael Jackson. You know? God, you know, the amount of times we'd watch YouTube videos about it. But imagine being a kid who grew up with these games. Like, oh my god, it sounds like him, but I can't verify it. Like, having no IU. Like, I didn't get to play the Genesis games until the Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube. So, for me, these were, you know, games I didn't play until, like, the 2000s. Like, no, you had a Genesis, but I don't know if you played the Sonic games, you know, in the 90s.
Sonic 1 and 2.
Okay. So
Sonic 3 was something I discovered in Mega Collection. And, come on, it has Blue Sphere.
Now, when talking about, the Genesis games, let's just do cleanup. Want to talk about the really bad ones first, or?
Well, I guess let's talk about the big outlier here. You know, Sonic has sold all these games, but what about his true nemesis, Dr. Robotnik? He had a game.
Before Shadow got a game, Dr. Robotnik got a game.
Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Yeah, I mean, this is Puyo Pop, so where are we gonna put Puyo Pop?
Puyo Puyo is amazing. Like, obviously on a pure mechanical level, like, I want to put this in ARS, and it's got the like second or third best interpretation of Robotnik.
It's a good game. I feel like we should put it lower than Sonic 1, but not by much. Like, it's gonna be better than a lot of the bad games, because it is just Puyo Puyo. And, like, the Robotnik theming isn't bad. It's very unpleasant if you're a child, but, like, that kind of makes it unique. Like, I think it's a terrible idea for, like, marketing it to make it Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and have all this aggressive, noisy music on a cutesy puzzle game. I think it's stupid marketing, but at the end of the day, it's Puyo. And, like, frankly, I'm not a fan of the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog interpretation of the characters, which this is clearly based on. So some of that is coming into there. But, Joe, I want you to, like, you know, not look me in the eyes, because we don't have video going on right now, but look yourself in your soul and ask yourself, can you say that Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is a better video game, or a game that means more to you than Sonic 1?
Nah, alright, I'm putting this right below Sonic 1.
Yeah. We can shift that one. Like, at the end of the day, regardless where we put Mean Bean Machine, it is Puyo Puyo.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's just, you know... It's
not a Sonic game at all.
It's not a Sonic game, it's just...
It's just a license cash-in.
Yeah.
Now for a game that is technically more Sonic, but also a tie-in to the cartoons. How about Spinball?
Alright. We're going to be talking about the Genesis version. I don't think either one of us played the Game Gear version. But if we did, that would join Free Riders in its little corner. Sonic Spinball. I guess I could clone this and I have a little asterisk. I don't know. Does the Game Gear... Are we going to rate the Game Gear version?
Bro, I don't want to talk about the Game Gear version. It's still Sonic Spinball. Have you even played the Game Gear version?
Alright, nah. Sonic Spinball... Like,
It's Sonic Spinball!
I like pinball, but I don't think I enjoy Spinball much at all.
I mean, we didn't even put Sonic Pinball Party on here because neither of us had played it.
I didn't remember that was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't even want to mention it because I knew neither of us were going to play it. But the point, that one's probably better. I'll just say I assume that one's better.
Alright.
Sonic Spinball, it's gotta be E tier.
Yeah.
I can't justify calling it even D tier. Have you even gotten to past the second zone in that game?
Oh man, I think I got into the second zone. I think this thing goes into E tier for bringing us the options menu music alone.
Oh yeah, the completely broken options music in the Western version.
Alright, yeah, Alright, Sonic Free Riders, you have a friend.
Yeah. I mean, Toxic Caves is good, but again, if we talked about good music, again, you brought me water.
Yeah.
I went to an Italian restaurant, they gave me bread. Went to a Chinese restaurant, they gave me a fortune cookie. You gave me the bare minimum of existing. I'd hope for $60. I'd hope a Sonic game would have good music.
Yeah, like that's to be expected.
Speaking of fantastic music, it's now time to talk about what I think is going to be a hot discussion.
Oh.
Let's take a trip over to Flicky Island.
Alright, yeah, the first of our two Blast games, Sonic 3D Blast.
Keep in mind, I assume we're both talking about the Genesis version. I own the Saturn version because I bought it off a friend, but I don't have a Saturn, so I've never played this. But I assume it's the same game.
Yeah, it's the same game.
The bonus games are different. The bonus missions are different. Time for my spicy take.
Alright.
I like playing this more than any of the other Genesis Sonic games. I do not think it is better, I just like playing it more than the other Genesis Sonic games. I have finished this more times than I've even, like, probably turned on Sonic 1. Or at least CD.
I'll put it above CD, I can say that much.
Alright, so I want to get your take on this one. I feel like it should be at least in B tier, if not at the very lowest, like a high C tier, but I do want to hear your perspective.
I think it's like dead middle, like C.
And why is it?
Like, okay, I have a pleasant time with 3D Blast, but I find the game loop to be kind of boring after a short while. The isometric perspective isn't the most precise. Love that music, and honestly do kind of dig the aesthetic of it.
The aesthetic's great. The bonus games are so simple and easy. That might actually be a fault, but I don't know. It's a nice, simple, chill time. I'm never in a bad mood playing Sonic 3D Blast, which I can't really say about Sonic 1. And I'm less likely to get bored and check out than Sonic 2. That's just me personally. But, you know, I can definitely say that it may not have as much polish. So, you know, you're the one with the mouse. You can make the decision there on where it goes. Mechanically, I think it feels fine. I think it, you know, has a decent amount of secrets. You know, very unique style of game.
Yeah, I would say.
Although I'm also, you know what? Fine, I'll put it in mid C only because I also have to concede this is also another game I played on the Mega Collection, where, you know, I had an analog stick. I'm not counting the fact that
this was designed with a D-pad in mind.
So yeah, I'll put it in like the middle of C.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, I
If you play
feel
with an analog stick, I think that really covers up a lot of the issues.
that adds half a point.
So,
All right, so let's get it out of the way. What about the other Sonic Blast game
um,
on the Game Gear in 1996?
Is it gonna be low D or high E?
I feel like this is the bottom of D.
Yeah, I feel like it's worse than CD, but not by much worse. But also like not nearly as like I actually could finish Sonic Blast, but
Yeah,
I don't
Sonic Blast
either.
isn't like a painful experience. It's just
Oh, no,
ugly.
it's kind of painful when
Oh,
you start getting to the point with like the last world where they start warping and teleporting you.
Oh
around.
yeah, Silver Castle is kind of bad, but like Sonic CD's assaulting you with the badness. Sonic Blast kind of just hits you once. But of course,
think-
Sonic Blast
it
is ugly and inconsequential.
Yeah, it definitely went for style over its substance. I think it is okay. I think it is playable. I think it is the bare minimum essentials for what a functional Sonic game should be. So yeah, I'm fine with low D.
Yeah, like there might be something below in D, but it's definitely not a strong D.
I guess let's start hitting out the rest of these Game Gear, like Master System games or whatever else we have on here.
Yeah, let's knock out a bunch of these tertiary classic era games. Any thoughts?
Do we not have a Mega Drive or sorry Game Gear Sonic 1 and 2?
I forgot about those.
All right, we'll just pretend that they're gonna go and probably like. All right, would you put them in or low C or high D?
High
Or
D.
would you put them in C?
I
Or would you put them in like actual C?
I don't know. Feeling top of D because like, yeah, you can have a pretty decent time with them, but like, by the time you're having fun, they're over.
I'll say that like Sonic 1, I'd actually like argue is like a regular C. Sonic 2, well, it does add some cool features and has Bridge Zone. I'd argue has a few more unpleasant issues that I'm not a big fan of. But you just assume that's on there. And now
Alright.
for games that I've actually played less than those, that I'm going to have to use Google to actually remember which. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna look up which one's Sonic Chaos. See if I even played that one. Bro,
Nope.
did I even play Sonic? Okay, the first Google result is Chaos from Adventure. Have I even played this game? Oh, this is a weird one with the drill thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that like a bad thing. I think that's actually a decent one.
Yeah, it's a decent platformer. I don't have much to say about it.
Do you
but-
agree about Game Gear 1 and 2?
Yeah,
Say one
top
and
of D,
two.
bottom of C.
Where do you want to put Sonic Chaos? Would you say that's higher than 3D Blast, lower than 3D Blast?
Right below it.
Because I feel like it's higher than the other. I think it's one of the best on the Game Gear. I don't know if it is the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna tuck it like right here, like lower end of C, but not the bottom of C.
The only other real competition would be Triple Trouble.
Yeah.
I think I like Chaos a little bit more. I think Triple Trouble has a few too many, like, I don't know, I remember the level design not being as good. Keep in mind, I haven't played this game probably in like over 10 years or so really I wouldn't, for any of the hardcore Game Gear Sonic fans, I wouldn't really sweat these rankings too much. I'm not super invested into them. But where would you put Sonic Triple Trouble?
I'd put it on par with Sonic 1 Game Gear.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to say about any of these games?
Um,
Anything
Fang the Sniper is neat. I wish he'd come back.
I wish he'd come home. He went out to get a carton of milk and never came back.
Yeah. Tails Sky Patrol.
The first auto scroller. The first auto runner.
Eesh, I think this game's kind of rough.
Game is not fun.
Does this get the E?
I mean, I get the E. It's just the question is, it's gonna be. Would you rather play Tails Sky Patrol or Sonic Spinball?
Holy, man! I think this is, right in between these two games.
I think Tails Sky Patrol is quicker, and like Tails Sky Patrol is a functionally like I don't know. I've heard some people make the argument, oh, you don't understand the mechanics. It's actually a decent game. It's like,
all right, like I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll put it above Spinball. Like, I can see myself beating Sky Patrol.
yeah, that's what I was trying to think. It's like if I bothered to learn it, I feel like I could actually get a little bit of fun out of it. Not
Yeah.
a lot, but
Like, yeah, it's not nearly as janky as the games below it.
pretty janky, but not.
Yeah, it's not borderline non-functional.
All right, now for the first adventure game, Tails Adventure.
Tails Adventure. Man, if you didn't know any better, and I told you that there was a Tails pseudo Metroidvania on the Game Gear, would you believe me?
Besides the fact that I played it on the collection, no. I think you were. And his villain was a witch that he threw bombs at. It seems like I'm surprised that the AVGN has not reviewed this. It seems like the perfect fodder for him.
Yeah.
Cryptic, confusing, weird shit, throwing bombs in a Sonic game.
The Knuckles power is just a really bad punch.
Bro, if you told me this was actually supposed to be like a Hanna-Barbera licensed game and they just changed it to Tails at the last minute, I'd believe you.
Yeah.
It was like Yogi Bear or like the Looney Tunes or something, I'd believe you.
I'm feeling a low D on this one.
Would you rather play it over Sonic Blast?
No, because I feel like I can get Sonic Blast over with a lot quicker, and I don't think I'm having much fun with Tails Adventure.
Yeah.
Like, if any of
There's
these...
a game there. There is a game there. It's just not a game that's very worth playing.
Yeah. The thing... Like, if you held a gun to my head for some stupid reason and asked me, alright, we're gonna remake one of these games, I would tell you Tails Adventure. But, man, this is...
You get the Metroid Samus Returns people to make that, that'd actually be good.
Yeah, but the Game Gear is just not the right home for this kind of game.
Oh god, especially playing on the Game Gear. I think it had like passwords or something you had to use so you didn't lose all your damn progress.
Yeah. Play this search action game on a Game Gear with
Bro,
a barely...
Is that what they called them? Search action game?
That's what No, that's what Nintendo's trying to call them now.
Oh. I wouldn't be surprised if that was on the box somewhere. Tails Adventure, a search action game where you play as Tails.
Yeah. Like, it has the most potential, but I think it's also the most hampered by the hardware.
I don't know if it's the most hampered by its hardware, but I'll say it's one of them. We got a lot to go through.
Well, I'm talking about the Game Gear games.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, a game that's hampered by being on the Game Gear, but is not hampered because of it. It's a weird sentence, but we're gonna talk about where we're gonna put Sonic Labyrinth.
Alright, Sonic Labyrinth is generally like that other game that someone's gonna pull out when, like, okay, we gotta talk about the worst Sonic games. And, like, once everyone's done ranting about Rise of Lyric or 06, they're probably going to turn their heads towards this game.
Better or worse than Spinball?
Like, okay.
I feel like I've played more of Sonic Labyrinth. You know what? I'm gonna make a controversial take, is that Sonic Labyrinth is actually kind of fun. It's not a good Sonic game, but it's kind of fun as this weird little isometric, like, platformer puzzle game. Like, it's very repetitive, very boring, but it's not bad.
It's not poorly done. It's just not fun.
I think I'd rather play it over Tails Adventure. I think I might even argue I'd rather play it over Sonic Blast, but I'm also perfectly fair if you want to put it in high E. I would say it's more fun than Tails Sky Patrol, which barely holds together. Obviously, it's better than Spinball and Free Riders. Tails Adventure is a game that's ambitious that just doesn't flow right. Sonic Labyrinth is a really safe, boring game that just so happens to have fine enough gameplay to, pass by. Like, if you took Sonic out of it, where would you honestly rank it if you took Sonic out of that game?
Yeah, it would just be a below average, kind of maybe bad puzzle game. So I'm just gonna put it on the bottom of D. It gets to be right in between Blast and Tails Adventure. They could be like a little trio of misfits. Which, I think we might be the people that have given the highest praise to Sonic Labyrinth on the internet.
Yeah, because we know how bad it's gonna get, and we got some spicier takes to come.
Yeah, keep in mind, when it comes to the bad games, we've mostly been talking about fodder.
Yeah, talking about games that were just meant to give your kids something to do on the school bus.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten too many of the big games yet.
Yeah. How many of you even remembered these games existed?
Ooh. Alright, I guess we're talking about games people don't remember existed. How about the game I forgot to put on the list because I didn't even think it qualified? Alright, Dan.
Yeah. This is my time. So Sonic Jam is the first Sonic experience I ever had because I played it at the dentist because they had a Sega Saturn and I played Sonic World. I didn't even know the Genesis was in there. This is a glorified tech demo. It is kind of fun. It has cool movies. It has a nice aesthetic. It has some little missions. I am fine putting it in a lower area. I am very nostalgically biased towards it. I think it's very charming. I think it has like a lot of enjoyable elements. Just basing it on Sonic World and not basing it on the Genesis emulation, which actually I don't think it's an emulation. It's a port.
Yeah, it's a straight port, and it has some
of the best ports because they actually use they improved some of the slowdown. They have like remix modes. They have new recomposed soundtracks. So in terms of being a Sonic, a port of the Genesis games, it's probably on the higher end. In terms of being a standalone experience with Sonic World, which is what I played, look, I could put it as high as C, but I also wouldn't blame you for giving me the reality of it's just a little tech demo with some basic missions. So, for someone who hasn't played it, where do you think it should go?
Yeah, alright, I'm not rating this as a cumulative sum of the collection aspect.
Yeah, I'm specifically just talking about the Sonic World portion because it's kind of unfair to base it on the quality of the ports, or I feel like those should be a separate conversation.
Alright.
They should be separately listed on here if we were to put them on here, but we haven't played those versions of the Genesis games to even know.
So a decent chunk of a 3D platformer. I feel it's pretty insignificant, not a lot of it, but I do feel like that'd still be better than most of the Game Gear platformers.
Yeah, it's probably not as good as 3D Blast.
You want me to put it right next to Sonic Chaos?
I'm just trying to think, would I rather have Sonic Jam and just play Sonic World, or would I rather have a full Game Gear game? Would I rather get a 2 to 3 hour Sonic Jam, or would I rather you get an hour or two pretty good, probably better made Game Gear game?
Yeah.
If you want to put it below Triple Trouble, but yeah, put it below Triple Trouble and Sonic 1 Game Gear, but yeah, still keep it in C. Put it the bottom of C tier, because I think that it's a little unfair to say, because it's not a full-on game. Sonic 2 Game Gear, just has a couple too many weird issues for me. But I think Sonic Jam is really fun, but it's also not a full game. like I'd probably get a more fun experience playing Triple Trouble in Sonic 1, but Sonic Jam is very fun for what it was and what it is.
Yeah.
But
Alright. I just had to jam it in there.
yeah.
Alright.
I guess continuing with the Sega Saturn, this is
Alright.
gonna be a fun one.
Alright, Sonic
This is gonna be a hard one.
Sonic R.
It's gonna be a hard one because I really like this game, but I also know it's not very good. So I have to defend Sonic R and try to argue where I would put it. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably put it. I'd rather play it. If this was just me, I'd probably put it between Sonic 2 and Sonic 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop you there.
Yeah.
This game is
So
not.
that's why I'm just gonna.
This game is
I didn't
not.
say good. I didn't say better. I'd say it's more fun than Sonic 1 to me.
Yeah. Put down time. Yeah, this game's not functional enough to be up there.
I am used to enough of the jank that I am willing to say that. If I was to look at this game objectively, yes, there are a lot of flaws with it.
Yeah,
there are a lot of issues with
it doesn't
it.
control well. It's horribly balanced for a racing game.
The balancing is probably the biggest issue I'll give you. Is that, like, Amy is completely useless. She drives a goddamn car, she can't jump.
Yeah.
That shit sneaks in the water if you go into it. Like, Knuckles is completely broken. You know.
Yeah.
God help you if you get Supersonic or any of the robots.
Yeah, it's a kart racer with a small roster that some of the characters are downright unacceptably bad. Like,
Sonic are... If I'm just playing through it on my own to get 100%, it's a more enjoyable experience. As a actual multiplayer game, yeah, you know what, Sonic sucks. As a isolated single player adventure, I think fine. But you know, if you want to put it in, all right, fine. I feel like you want to put it in D tier, don't you?
I'm putting it in between CD and Blast.
Okay. You'd put it above CD?
No, but below CD, above Blast. But I think I could I think I could give you the slack that yeah, I'd put it above CD if you like R. I mean, I don't know.
Which would you rather play?
Oh, I'd take my bloody chances with CD. I think.
All right, fine. Then put it below CD.
Wait. I can use my visual design skills to compromise here. We tie into shit.
I thought you were gonna. For some reason, I thought you were gonna edit the Sonic R logo and just make it Sonic CDR.
Nah, we don't have time for that.
We don't have time for creative editing today. We got a lot more Sonic to get into, and these are the games we don't have a lot to say.
We're just wrapping up the classic era.
Alright, speaking of wrapping up that era, Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah, I was trying to. Why did I put Sonic the Fighters? I lost that layer.
Well, while you look for it, let's discuss, what you think about it.
Sonic the Fighters is,
You like fighting Vipers?
Yeah, you like fighting Vipers. You like Sonic.
This is fighting Vipers, except you don't smash someone through a cage every single level. Actually, alright, so, because you and I brought over my Xbox and we played Fighting Vipers, and I actually know what the original feels like, I actually think my opinion has only slightly dropped on this, because I actually know what the original Fighting Vipers played like, which this is a clear base off that engine of. So while I still really think Sonic... Okay, I gotta be clear. I think Sonic the Fighters is kind of fun. I'm not even like a big fighting game person, so like you can cheese it easy. Some of the characters are straight up broken. You know, give someone a goddamn gun.
Yeah.
Bombs. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Bark?
Yeah.
Oh, the most broken characters are all the characters who never showed up again.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's broken, and you just need to figure out how to break the game using them.
Yeah, like, the way I really feel this game is a fun fling, but, like, you're not really getting much out of it.
It's fun to dick around with the Sonic fighting game.
And then you just lament that they never tried this again.
Officially, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we putting Sonic Fighters?
I
Would
want.
you rather play this or Sonic R and Sonic CD?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna put it right above those.
Would you rather play Sonic the Fighters or Sonic 2 Game Gear?
Sonic the Fighters.
I'm only
I'm
I'm only asking because I want to get an idea of where you'd scale this. Would you rather play Sonic the Fighters than the other Game Gear games like Triple Trouble and Sonic 1?
Ooh. Alright.
I'm not trying to make you ratchet it
Yeah.
forward because I don't think it's that high. I'm just trying to get you, ask the
Yeah.
basic question of would you
Okay.
one or the other?
I would prefer to play Sonic the Fighters. I do like myself a decent fighting game. Although, like, yeah, honestly, like, it doesn't really deserve to be up in C.
So yeah, that's fine. We'll leave it right above R and CD, right below Sonic 2. Although I would argue Sonic the Fighters is a technically better game than Sonic 2 Game Gear.
I feel like we should move Sonic 2 Game Gear down a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not reading like the leader of these.
Yeah.
And
So we'll move Sonic the Fighters above Sonic 2 Game Gear. That's gonna piss off a lot of people. I feel like that might be
Alright.
low-key one of our most controversial picks.
but Dan, counterpoint, Honey the Cat. That's why it's higher.
You're not wrong. But she's not in this version. Unless you count the Xbox 360 PS3 re-release. That's super cool Metal Sonic that's only in the intro cutscene.
Yeah, that's my argument.
Honey the Cat. Damn it, he sold me. I was defeated. Honey the Cat.
Oh man, we're gonna get into a heavy.
That's Sonic Cat.
Yeah.
Alright, so where are we going next? Where are we dropping, boys?
Next on the list is SA1.
Oh man, I wasn't ready to talk about that yet. I'm so used to the
We just waded through a big filler arc, and now the next canon arc is hitting us like a freight train. You want to just talk about Pocket Adventure first?
I mean, I haven't played it, so
Alright, neither have I. It looks neat. We're putting it in null space.
it'd probably be like higher. It'd probably be like a high C or a low B if we played it.
Yeah,
I want to play it. Looks awesome, but yeah, we haven't played it.
yeah, so we're just gonna put that in null space. That's why we put games that neither one of us has played.
All right, now that I've had that palate cleanser, Sonic Adventure. So
It's
first decide, would you put it higher or lower than 3 in this?
lower.
We'll talk. We'll sing its praises. Lower. I need you to explain yourself.
Sonic Adventure is a game with very good parts, but a lot of it just doesn't ring well enough for me. Like, I feel it's a very uneven experience because, in many levels, aesthetically, thematically, I do think that it's a very, very influential game, very almost revolutionary even. But like, a lot of the playable characters just don't get to do enough, and I think way too many ideas just feel underexplored with Sonic Adventure.
I feel like with Sonic Adventure, the original release. Okay, by original release we mean the North American release. We're not talking about the completely broken Japanese original prints. I feel like this is why it's important we separated this from DX, because I feel like with the original Sonic Adventure, when you just play the 6 stories, you optionally do all the A ranks, you get in, you get out. The other stories aren't that great, but they're over pretty quick. Like, they're relatively, like, easy and breezy. So, for me, they're not that big of a deal. I've really grown to appreciate the original Sonic Adventure 1 on the Dreamcast a lot because I never grew up with that version as a kid. I've only gotten to play it over the years, and the world, just the world, really kind of pulls you in. It's really, like, for such a simple, hub, it really kind of pulls you in. It really tells a story. The NPCs all have little stories. Was it Rashomon is what they say, where it's the different perspectives?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Rashomon style. Really kind of pulls you in. Even if it's simple, not very overdone, and not really a lot's done with it. It's an interesting sort of perspective. It's clear that this game was meant to really, move the Dreamcast and really show what the Dreamcast can do. And it's easy to look at it now and be like, this is stupid. This is dumb. Why'd they have fishing? Why'd they have, AI chasing you? When you think about it as a launch game to, like, test all this hardware, like, I think in that case, it kind of elevates itself a little bit more. And perhaps that's a little unfair for it to be granted that simply on the matter of what it could perform as a tech demo. But that context of being a Dreamcast game really kind of plays in. And I think that a lot of the issues become more prevalent when you're getting more expanded content in a game that's releasing so much later with the later ports.
But yeah, I just feel like this game's a jack of all trades but a master of none. Like, I can't in good conscience put this in S tier.
I will settle for the highest of A's for right now.
Alright. Yeah, I can live with that. Alright, since we already dropped the shoe, how does DX compare for you?
Alright, so for DX, are we talking about the GameCube version, the Steam version, or just some kind of combination? Because I think...
Alright, like, let's just say the best version of DX, because I feel like...
I think the best version of DX should be at least a B tier. I think I'd personally probably put it between Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 if I had to put it somewhere, because I think it adds a decent amount. It also loses a lot as well. The visuals take a major downgrade. A lot of glitches get introduced. Visually it just loses a lot. In the time period it came out in, it just, they didn't do enough to really change the game. The missions suck. I'm sorry, the missions are actually terrible. They're such a waste of time and just feel like absolute padding. I can't put... unless you have an argument for where DX could go that wouldn't be there.
I'll put it right below Sonic 1.
That's fair. I'd certainly say it's better than Robotic Team being and I do want to put the Steam version somewhere. Put the Steam version... put the Steam... Alright, I'm gonna be mean. Put the Steam version above Sonic Blast.
That's a huge drop. Like, what?
I would rather... There's so many issues with the Steam version. It looks like shit. It's buggy as hell. It's miserable. And, like, the missions get even more tedious. This is a port of the game, and for it to decline so much, because you're not just basing it on... In the context of a port like this, you're not just basing it on, like, what is the base game itself. You're also basing it on, like, the quality of what you're getting and compared to if you'd rather play something else. And if you'd ask me, would I rather play the Steam version of SA1 or would I rather play Sonic R or Sonic CD, I'd rather play those. But that's also because I have the context of I could play any other Sonic game. Unless you want to argue it should be higher. That simply the merits of Sonic Adventure 1, functioning, should justify it being higher than other games. If you want to put it above Fighters, then that's fine. I'm not putting it in C tier. It does not belong in C tier.
Alright, I won't fight you on that. But, like, if you're putting it that low, that means that the non-mechanical parts of SA1 don't mean that much.
What do you mean by that?
Like, that's saying like the story and stuff aren't enough to. I mean, of course. No, I don't know how broken the Steam version is.
The Steam version has a lot of bugs. It has a lot of issues. It looks like shit. It's a visual mess. And a lot of the things I don't particularly find that fun about the DX version are just, still there. It's a broken version of a game. Like, I'm saying this with the context. If I only had the Steam version, it'd be higher. But I have the context of the other games in the franchise.
Yeah. Alright, I'll put that right above Sonic the Fighters.
I mean, if you want to put it higher, then fine, go ahead, put it higher. It's not a completely non-functional game. It's just a bastardization of a good game. Alright, here, you know what? Since now you're getting me on edge about it, we're gonna jump right into Sonic Genesis. Where should you put Sonic Genesis, based on the merits of Sonic 1 alone? Huh? Where would you put Sonic 1? But worse.
Alright, so you think SA1 DX Steam is as broken as Sonic 1
I don't
Genesis?
think it's as broken, but I think it's pretty damn broken. Like, Sonic Adventure 1 Steam, you can beat Sonic Genesis. I think it's different for a 3D game versus a game with a shitty frame rate and shitty performance on a Genesis style, because they're two different scales of game. Sonic Adventure 1's also a story-based game, so if you fuck up the cutscenes, you fuck up the visuals, you're losing a lot more in that experience if it looks ugly, it looks inconsistent. If they switch cutscenes and use Dreamcast models because they didn't take them out and switch them out with the other models, if the textures look bad, it's not because Sonic Adventure 1 is more story-based. These cinematic elements fucked up is a bigger deal.
Alright.
Something like, well, not a bigger deal than Sonic 1 Genesis being mechanically, broken, but it's a bigger game, and if you're fucking up and breaking more things, I think that's a fairly significant deal. It's how much Sonic Adventure DX breaks, or how much it loses compared to it. For me, at least. That's just why I think it should be a D tier, is that, you can patch it, you can fix it. There's literally patches that are called Better SADX that just fixes all of it. They fucking put it in a 4:3 aspect ratio box and put a shitty background around it for no reason.
Alright, yeah, you sold me on putting it between CD and Blast.
Like, Sonic Adventure 1 is a good game, but this is the absolute worst way to play it. I'd rather play a worse game that's just itself than play a bastardization of what I consider a really good game. Anyway, but while we are talking about it, and because once we start getting to, like, this era, it's gonna kind of be shuffled up as to what we're talking about. Where would you put Sonic 1 Genesis? Or Sonic Genesis for GBA, whatever the hell you call it.
Yeah, like, we already brought the genie out of the bottle. Man, I was gonna put this...
Yeah, we're gonna get there in, like, the Wii
era. Top of E?
You'd put it over Tails Sky Patrol?
No.
You'd put it over Spinball?
I think I put it on par.
I'm just asking for clarification because I've never played this version, but I've seen the videos. You think Sonic Spinball is as bad as Sonic 1 Genesis?
Like, I feel like I could... I'm trying to think. Would I rather muscle my way through Sonic Genesis?
A terrible version of a game that you think is good and well designed? Or would you rather suffer through a game that is overall not fun, but at least, finished?
Alright, but I'm not putting it below Free Riders.
I mean, you could leave it in equal to Spinball. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, like, it's a good argument.
No, I can't justify putting it above Free Riders. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on par. Like, yeah, it's a crime against humanity regardless. In the end, yeah, it is Sonic 1. Like, a very, very bad version of Sonic 1 with all the physics messed up and the frame rate issues.
This is why I felt like it was important to state my claim of Adventure 1 for Steam, is that you drop Sonic Genesis near the bottom, you know, because despite the fact the level design is all there, it's where the devil's in the details about what it loses, how much they fucked up.
Yeah.
So the conversation of what was lost is also important. What they couldn't do.
Yeah. And I guess that is fitting for us to put it here, because, like, you know, we have Sonic Adventure 1 in A, and this is in D, and we have Sonic 1 in B, and this is in E.
They're 3 tiers apart. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, this works. Like, despite our differences on Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic 1,
we can both agree that, we can both agree that their ports, their later release ports, were just downright miserable.
Yeah.
Alright, so which route do we go for? Oh wait, well we gotta talk about Sonic Shuffle.
Sonic Shuffle, to me, feels like I'm interested in trying that. And when you try it, it is the most boring, protracted experience. Like, I feel like, yeah, if you're hanging out trying to have fun with your friends, you put on Sonic Shuffle and you feel bad for wasting everyone's time.
Genuine, I'm really, in my head, I'm trying to think of arguments to say that you're wrong. I'm genuinely, because I want to vouch for it. I love Mario Party. I love Mario Party style games. I think aesthetically, this might be one of my favorite Sonic games aesthetically. I think
yeah.
I love that cel-shaded thing. The new fairy characters they added are cool. Who are you?
And then you play it.
Like, yeah, it's like it's a Mario Party spin-off of Sonic Adventure, and it's somehow like the mini games. All right, the mini games are okay. Because look, I have nothing really good to say about most of the rest of the game, so I'm gonna at least try to talk about the few good elements I like.
Yeah.
I think the mini games are not the best. They feel like they were holdover, leftover ideas from Mario Party that they threw out. I don't think they're necessarily bad. I think so many of them don't feel like Sonic. I mean, Mario Party minigames often don't feel like Mario, but Mario Party minigames are just generally better built. There's a lot of really shitty, mediocre ones.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst, but it's certainly pretty bad. I think a couple of my biggest issues with Sonic Shuffle. I feel bad that we're going to be talking about Sonic Shuffle probably more than we talked about Sonic Adventure, but Sonic Adventure is such a good game. And we don't need to speak on behalf of it that much. Like, the games that are bad are the games I need to justify. You know, I'm going to talk more about. The card battle system, the fact you can steal other players' cards, the fact that the game is objectively harder if you don't have a VMU, those are major issues.
Especially for a game that's supposed to be played with multiple people.
Yeah, if you don't have a VMU per player, then you can't, you know, look at your cards on the bottom, and yeah, it actually makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, the more barriers of entry.
Yeah, barriers to entry.
The more barriers of entry you add to a party game, the more objectively it fails. Like,
Sonic Shuffle is not a game that I can be like, hey, you guys want to play Sonic Shuffle for an afternoon? No. It's like when your friend wants to bring over a new board game, and it's like, bro, it's gonna take like 3 hours to set this up just to play. Could have played freaking Clue.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's a party game, but it feels like a party pooper game.
Yeah, I think. Oh god.
I don't think there's an argument to put it anywhere else but bottom.
I mean, would you rather play Sonic Blast than Sonic Shuffle?
Yeah.
Rather play Labyrinth and Tails Adventure than Sonic Shuffle?
Huh. Alright, like I'm playing Sonic Shuffle with friends, but like everything's better with friends.
Are you willing to put it at the bottom of D? Do you think it has even enough redeeming qualities to put it at the bottom of me?
I mean, yeah, it looks nice.
Some of the mini games are fun. I think that the story elements are actually kind of decent. Because there's like a whole story mode to it.
Yeah.
You know, like the story mode's basically Sonic meets Knights, but the dollar store versions of Knights. Yeah, I think the bias is gonna have to come out on this one. I think I'm gonna use all my bias points to pull Sonic Shuffle to bottom of D tier.
Joe will remember this.
Yeah, like literally just move the rest of them over, just drag them. I'm fine. Tails Adventure, at least put it equal to Tails Adventure. I can't say I'd rather play.
Yeah, I'm gonna
rather
put
play
Tails Adventure up
than
here.
Sonic Shuffle. I'll give you Labyrinth, but I can't, in good conscience, say I'd rather play Tails Adventure over Sonic Shuffle. And you might be the opposite. You'd rather play Tails Adventure than Sonic Shuffle.
Yeah, like I'm willing to call that a draw, but like, no, I had to stop you there. You're not defending Sonic Shuffle to be anything other than low.
Yeah, I that's why I said I have to literally think about things to say that are good about it and try to create a justifiable argument. But hey, Joe, just think. This isn't even the worst party game we're going to be talking about tonight.
Oh yeah, no, there's a special place I have in mind for that game. That's probably gonna be my hottest take.
Oh man, it's gonna be burning in your...
Yeah, it's gonna be a wildfire. Alright. So,
Alright, we moving on to Heroes, or are we talking about the advanced games?
Advanced 1 I have before Heroes.
I mean, it doesn't matter chronologically, but yeah. We'll do that then.
I have a lot of...
Advanced 1 I only played a little bit of, so this is gonna be a lot from your opinion.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna take the wheel for this one. Sonic Advance is a game I grew up with a lot. As someone who played a lot of Chao Garden, I also just connected it a lot to get like special Chao stuff. But as a platformer alone, because obviously Tiny Chao Garden doesn't mean much. But I don't know, I think Sonic Advance is rather underrated, or at least fairly rated, as a pretty good platformer. Like, I think it has a lot of what I'm looking for in a 2D Sonic game post-Genesis. Like, it transferred the visual style of the adventure era into 2D pretty seamlessly. It does have...
I think it definitely feels like they took the Genesis philosophy and ported it over. It really does feel like Sonic 4.
Yeah, this is...
about that. But yeah, this really is Sonic 4. I don't even have 4 characters.
Yeah, like... Alright, unlike certain other later Sonic releases, it had a creative way of implementing Amy. It's a no-nonsense, pretty good 2D platformer.
Yeah. I've only played like the first zone or two. I do recall liking it.
Yeah.
Where do you think it ranks compared to the Genesis Sonic games?
I mean, I'd put it in bottom of B.
You'd put it below... Right, you put it below Mean Bean Machine? You'd put it below SADX. And again, this is just for clarification purposes.
Yeah.
I think SADX is a more complete package. You think it's not as good as Mean Bean Machine?
Like, despite it all, I do think Advance has a couple of bumps in the road. Like, the level design has a few cheap parts.
Yeah. Has some of those classic DIMPS staples, like some of the boost pads and...
oh yeah, and the special stages do kind of suck.
Alright, then that's fine. You can put it at the bottom of B.
Yeah, like... I have had a lot of fun with Advance 1, but I have had more fun with Mean Bean Machine. But you know.
Alright, let's just knock out all the advanced games, because I'd rather just save that, because I know we're going to have a lot to talk about 3D games.
Yeah.
These are going to be a pretty quick go.
Ooh.
Have you played Advance 2?
Several times.
Okay. This is all you. I've heard, but
I hate Sonic Advance 2.
That's what I've heard.
Like, okay, you have a GBA game with the classic GBA screen crunch. Well, Sonic Advance had ways to, you know, it was just a basic platformer. You kind of roll the punches. It toned down to momentum-based platforming a bit, but you know, it's mostly a coherent platformer that works on GBA. How about you spawn the boost, or at least something like it, on a Game Boy Advance game?
They decided to make it too fast.
It doesn't work. You add collectathon elements to this.
Yeah.
Like,
I've heard. I can't defend it. I feel like if I played it, I maybe be more acclimated to those sort of elements, but again, I have no
yeah,
way.
like this is coming from someone who hates Boost Sonic when it's done well, but it's done badly here.
Yeah, I've heard it's not done well at all.
And like, and this negatively impacts the bosses because all the bosses are the same, like chase style.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the best thing about it, yeah, I guess it introduced Cream the rabbit who's broken in this game.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking it's D, despite having the pretty impressive advanced visuals.
All right, so but how low in D? Let's start with another platformer. Higher or lower than CD?
Oh, right below CD.
Okay. Would you put it above Sonic Blast?
Yes. I'm seeing that spot in between Blast and SA1DX Steam. And I think Advance 2 fits right into that gap.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it if it's tied above or below SNDX, but it's in the same space.
Yeah, like it's in that tier.
Alright, now let's talk about one that I have the most experience with, Sonic Advance 3. The only one that I had growing up, and I didn't even have it growing up. I got it in like my teens, like in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but it's the only Advance game that I've actually had any long-term play with. I played a smidge of Advance 1, but I played the heck out of Sonic Advance 3. What about you, though?
I played some Sonic Advance 3. I think I played it through once when I was a little one. Oh, relatively.
I like this one a lot. It is very different for a Sonic game. I think some of those differences work. It kind of integrates a lot of the adventure style elements into the gameplay a little bit more, with sort of a more slow pace, sort of collectathon elements. How do you feel that those elements kind of work, especially on the Game Boy Advance, compared to, you know, the more platforming, speed-oriented first two?
I'm not sure if the advanced formula was the best fit for a collectathon, but it certainly pulls it off better than Advance 2. I like the team system.
Yeah, team system. There's a couple broken combos, but for the most part, you can actually, you know, get a lot of creativity out of it. Everyone kind of everyone plays a little bit differently. When you add in different combinations, it's not as simple as just, oh, you have a different move. A lot of the mechanics of the characters can completely change depending on what combos you have. So it does add a lot of nice replayability. It would kind of seem like the logical step forward from like Sonic and Tails in that sort of a fashion.
Yeah.
So it was cool
to see that.
It also seemed like it was extending off of the whole Sonic Heroes. I think this came out before Shadow. So
yeah, this was right before Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, this whole sort of thing they were doing with like pairing up characters and having like a teamwork element. But yeah, you definitely say Heroes influenced this one. Could agree.
Yeah, like I have this labeled in my layers folder as being the last game I put in the quote-unquote adventure era.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do think it's definitely a more complex, layered, and story-rich version of Advance 1, but it's less easy to pick up and play.
fair, and I can understand the completion criteria being a little bit annoying.
I think they do average out into being roughly equal.
Yeah, I could see someone preferring Advanced 1, so I'm not gonna stop you if you want to put Advanced 3 below that. I think Advanced 3 has a lot to offer, but I could see that Advanced 1 is the more simple pick up and play.
Yeah, like, I'm not putting one over the other. I think I'm actually just going to put these in the same spot.
Yeah.
Like,
That makes me okay, because I feel like it'd be a little bit wrong to put Sonic Advance 3 in C tier.
Yeah, like, I think these are the perfect set of gatekeepers for the B tier.
Yeah, they balance each other out. They, everything that Sonic Advance 2 did wrong, Advance 3 course corrected, and Sonic Advance 1 is kind of a done deal. So Sonic Advance 2 is just an awkward middle in between.
Yeah.
And while we're
Also,
here, let's
Sonic
talk
Advance
about
2 made you unlock Amy, who was available at the start in Advance 1. I still don't know why they did that.
You want to unlock this cool new Sonic character that everyone's a huge fan of? It's Amy. Why wasn't Shadow? I don't know. Bro, why didn't you just have Shadow?
Yeah, like, why did you make Amy unlockable? It makes no sense.
Yeah, all the boys in like 2000 whatever really wanted to go unlock Amy. Not if it was Shadow, like it would have been a whole different situation. And you wouldn't even have to play it.
Yeah.
It's Sonically color and everyone would be shitting their pants.
But no, you did this really weird unlockable.
Does she play completely different than she did in Advanced 1?
I think she played mostly the same, although I think she got like something a little bit to put her on par with Sonic, just so the boost formula didn't completely destroy her.
While we're here, let's just clean up the Game Boy Advance games, and let's just talk about Sonic Battle.
Alright, this is your time to take the wheel because I have not played enough Sonic Battle in nearly long enough to...
Alright, well I'm gonna say right off the bat, it's a better fighter than Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it at least above that. I think the story's fairly cool. There's a lot of really good character interaction stuff. I think it is not a perfect game. There are quite a few bullshit fights. Very specifically, I think it's in the Knuckles campaign where you're fighting 3 of the Gamma robots on your own. That fight is like almost impossible. This is bullshit. Emerald is a really interesting protagonist to play as, since you're not playing as Sonic and you're playing sort of this weird... It really feels like they really just wanted to make like a Mega Man Battle Network or a Metabots thing, but make it Sonic.
Yeah.
It like feels very trendy of the time, but it also has like a completely unique vibe to any of the other Sonic games. I really like the whole way they set up the city, all the different locales, everyone's got things they're doing.
Yeah.
It's one of the few uses of Shadow in this era, post-Adventure 2, that I feel doesn't completely butcher his character. It actually makes sense for Shadow. It brought back Gamma in a way that felt tasteful enough. Gamma, I love Gamma from Sonic Adventure. He was an absolute highlight. And this is really the only way they could bring him back in a way that didn't completely, contradict everything.
Yeah.
So, like, characterization was really strong. The unfortunate having to sacrifice Emerald, which then led to Sonic Advance 3's, general.
Yeah.
I think narratively this game is pretty strong. I think mechanically the game's right. But I can also say that mechanically it's also got a lot of weird jank to it. It's fun, it's very snappy, but it also like isn't perfect system. It's hard to really describe without playing it, but like it's for what it is, it's pretty good, but I also kind of wish it was something else. Like it just I'm not a fan of the whole idea, but I think it's executed well enough. Like the whole sort of arena fighter sort of a deal. Like a weirdly like it's weird, like it's a very fat. It feels like a Flash game somebody made in a good way. It doesn't feel like this is an official Sonic gameplay. It feels like a Flash game somebody made. And now, to be fair, that could also be because I'm so used to seeing those sprites in Super Smash Flash. But
Yeah, Flash game makers definitely got their mileage out of this particular style of sprite.
I don't know where I would put this. Just off of a gut instinct, do you think that this is higher than the rest of the C tier? Do you think it kind of floats above them?
I think it's like...
Because it's definitely not as good as the advanced games, or the good advanced games.
I would put this, like, right ahead of 3D Blast.
That's respectable. I'm trying to think if I personally would rather play 3D Blast.
Like...
I think putting Battle is a more respectable location.
Like, I'd also just say that because, like, okay, like, whether or not you want to play this with 3D Blast, like, you're thinking about it, but Sonic Battle has a little bit more lore going for it.
Sonic Battle is a better game. I just don't know if I'd rather play it over 3D Blast. So yeah, I'm gonna give Sonic Battle the point on that one.
Yeah, like, I'm just gonna put it as little above it as I can while still having it notably above it. Like, if 3D Blast is like a 6, then Battle's like a 6.1.
Great. Now that we've talked about a lot of some of the smaller games,
Alright, it's time to talk about...
Speed. Okay.
Alright! Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes feels like a fun game at times, but I feel like it asks for you to do way too much busy work, and it's such a dramatic downturn in both narrative and mechanically and aesthetically from what came before.
Yeah. Sonic Heroes is the law of diminishing returns. You get a pretty solid first campaign. Everything you were saying about how you feel about Sonic Adventure 1 is, like, not particularly well-rounded. I feel like really applies more to Sonic Heroes, which is weird because Sonic Heroes is just the same game for
Yeah, Sonic Heroes does not have nearly as much content to get away with that feeling.
Yeah. Especially given this was a more story-driven time, even though they were trying to scale back. The whole, you gotta finish it 4 times to get the real ending thing.
It feels like the worst of both worlds between the simpler Sonic stories and the more complex Sonic stories.
Most evident with poor Shadow. Had a fantastic ending, a great one-off. Then he became the second most popular character in the franchise, and he had to come back. And they had a week to write a story. And that really sent Shadow on a trajectory.
Yeah.
Over the years, if you asked me this question like 5 years ago, I probably would put like Sonic Heroes at like a solid D tier, maybe. I think with time and, to sort of show my hand, a lot of the other major console games are probably not going to be ranked much higher. Are probably going to be a lot lower than I'm more willing to give Sonic Heroes points for what it does still do, what it does still bring. While it's not as good as Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, not by a mile, it still has a lot of that same charm, a lot of that same energy, even if it's not the same. The voice acting is somehow worse, but it's still charming enough. The physics and mechanics, they're okay. There are many times where I'm like, I'm in the mood to play Sonic Heroes, which I can't say for some of the other games, where I'm like, yeah, I feel like playing this.
Alright, if I were to put it, I put it at the very top of D.
You put it below Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic 1 Game Gear?
Oh, yeah!
You put it below 3D Blast, you put it below Battle?
Yeah.
Well...
Alright, so, one playthrough of Sonic Heroes is probably No, I didn't like when I played Sonic Heroes this year. So, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Sonic Heroes might have higher highs than, like, Sonic Chaos or 3D Blast. I feel like the lows feel lower, and there's just more of an ordeal to get through. And the writing just doesn't carry it far enough to really make up for that.
Like, I'm just trying to think, like, would I rather play Sonic Heroes or would I rather play 3D Blast? And it's like, I like 3D Blast, but I don't even know if I can confidently say I'd rather play Sonic 3D Blast over Sonic Heroes. Like, I don't know if it's just because it's a main console game, so it kind of has more gravity and more weight. Mechanically, you know, Sonic Heroes is fine. It's a perfectly average game. Its story sucks dick. You know, it's terrible. The voice acting is somehow way worse with most of the same cast. Most of the...
Like, I just feel like it doesn't do anything that well.
By the time I finish quoting this cutscene, I'll have figured out where I want to put it. Excuse me, miss. I was wondering if I could ask you something. If it's about a date, it'll have to wait. Daddy, you think this is a joke, you little brat? Handle my child nice and easy.
I bet you're the ones who took chocolate chow.
It's not nice to tease my friend.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
I will put it... I'm feeling that sort of bubble between Chaos, Triple Trouble, 1 Game Gear, and Sonic Jam, like somewhere in that spot. Like, do you really think Sonic Heroes plays that badly?
Like, I think back to my unpleasant times with some of the stages. Like, Bingo Highway barely works. One of the haunted levels, Mystic Mansion, I had an extraordinarily janky time trying to get on the rail. I find that there's not really a good balance between movement speeds. Everything feels a little off when I play Sonic Heroes.
But you really would put it over Sonic Fighters. Or you really put Sonic Fighters over Sonic Heroes?
No. I think I could give Heroes that much.
Alright, fine. If you put it at the top of D, I'm fine with that. Which is so weird, because if you asked me, like I said, like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have even questioned putting it, like, in D. I probably would have been willing to put it in E tier, just to be mean. This used to be, like, my least favorite Sonic game.
Like, yeah.
Or none.
I love some of the music, but I just feel like... But, you know, we already said our piece about Sonic music, like, that's almost always great. But, like, I just feel like...
There's some good level design. There is some good levels. There are some good... See, Joe, you should have talked about the bosses, and this would have been easier, because the bosses suck.
Yeah, the bosses suck.
Play with the bosses.
Yeah, it's like...
Eggpunk might be one of the best, and that fight's over in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
or
like...
Eggpunk with more health, the Egg Albatross.
Those team fights are terrible.
Amy, what are you doing here?
It has...
I'm gonna murder you so that... Oh yeah, it butchered Amy as a character, and she was already having a hard time to begin with. It butchered Shadow, it butchered Rouge,
Yeah.
it butchered Knuckles. I don't even know why I'm here.
No character that aren't the Chaotix or literally introduced in this game walked away in a better position after this game.
Oh yeah, Big the Cat got destroyed.
Yeah, like Sonic...
Big the Cat used to be a character with some depth, and then... Oh god.
On so many levels, Sonic Heroes damaged the series.
Yeah, and I know that. So that's why I don't entirely argue. I'm only just saying, as the finished product, it damaged a lot.
And
It caused a lot of the wounds, but it's still,
And it's asking you to play it 4 times.
Yeah, I can't really argue that much. So here's gonna be the fun one. Heroes or Shadow?
Oh, despite it all, I still probably put it above Shadow the Hedgehog.
Where are you gonna put Shadow, Joe?
Probably just right beneath it. I don't know. Huh?
Would you... Alright, well, let me ask you. Would you rather play the same... What was it, 14 levels?
Yeah.
Time? Would you rather play a couple different levels, but you have to play Westopolis 10 times?
Oh, God. And I think Shadow... Oh, man. Would I rather play Heroes than Shadow?
Shadow's a better casual playthrough, but the real question is...
If you're trying to do everything in Shadow...
Well, if you try to do everything in Shadow, you'd be dead by the time you finish. If you're trying to get to the end, to get to the last story...
Like... No, it's worse than Sonic Heroes. In that regard.
In terms of story, Shadow the Hedgehog
is a complete mess.
It is a bastardization of the canon. The only good part is the last, like, few minutes of the story where Shadow realizes... Basically the last story. That's like the only good
not
part.
to dwell in the past. Oh yeah, and make sure you're a little wasted so you don't remember the part where they try to remember Dr. Gerald Robotnik as a hero.
Oh my god.
Or
Actively make him a war hero and not a man who got driven insane by his granddaughter being...
Yeah, and oh yeah, and you also take 9 minutes to fight the final boss to find out that Shadow isn't a robot. No, this game's too stupid to put in the same level as Heroes.
Alright, so where's it going?
Oh god, I'm putting it right below SA1DX Steam. I'm trying to think of...
I'm gonna have to veto that because the gameplay is about as good as Shadow. It's fine. The gameplay is fine. The minute-to-minute playing is fine. It plays better than Sonic R. The levels make more sense than Sonic CD. If you want to put it on Sonic 2 Game Gear levels, fine, whatever. I don't know if I'd say it's better than Sonic the Fighter, or it's worse than Sonic the Fighters, but fine, I'll at least put it there.
Alright, I'll put it... Yeah, I can put it there. Like, right on Sonic the Fighter's level.
Yeah. Like, Sonic... And this is from someone who, you know, Shadow the Hedgehog has been completely destroyed and mutilated by the franchise and greed. And I hate how much they bastardized the Sonic Adventure 2 lore in this game. So many nostalgic beats that feel disingenuously used. So I should hate this game more.
It's like stealing candy from a baby, which is fine by me. He says this in the good path.
He fucking breaks the fucking spaceship that they're flying on by stealing the emerald and then has a goddamn flashback. PTSD flashback to throwing medical capsules. Bro, I think he's...
This game has the Doom.
Damn, he got away.
I'm sorry, this game is bad.
I mean, it's bad, but at the same time, I don't think it's as bad. I'd rather play it than some of these worse games. I don't think I can comfortably say it's Sonic R and CD bad.
Alright, yeah, I'll give you that. But not much more.
Fine. That's fine. Alright.
Are we gonna just wash it down with some Sonic Riders real quick?
You don't want to hear my opinions about Sonic Riders.
Oh, I didn't know that was a complex subject for you.
I fucking hate Sonic Riders. I think it's worse than Shadow.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that one.
I think it has worse cutscenes think the gameplay fucking sucks.
They're trying to do something with Sonic Riders. It doesn't work though.
It is not fun. You have to do a lot of learning. Much as you said Sonic Shuffle is a party game you have to learn, Sonic Riders you have to learn. I like what they were trying to do with Sonic Riders.
But yeah, it doesn't really come together.
This might be the worst version of Knuckles. Tails is okay. Sonic is at one of his worst presentations. I don't think the Babylon Rogue's particularly interesting at all. Yeah, I don't know. I like what they were trying to do. I'm willing to put it around Sonic R or CD level. I don't think it's as bad as it's not as bad. It just requires a lot of learning and is very obnoxiously difficult. So I'm willing to say it's Sonic R level. If you want to put it lower,
I'm going to put it right alongside this clot of low D games.
alright, that's fine. I don't think it's the absolute worst, but I think it... yeah, I am not a Sonic Riders fan.
Have you played Zero Gravity?
I have not.
Alright, it's going into null space!
That one's probably better with the Wii, honestly. It probably helped out. A rare example where Sonic and motion controls was better. But I can't speak on that.
Yeah. I hear it's worse, but than the other.
You've heard it's worse? I've heard it's better.
Alright,
But we haven't played it. We're not even gonna point of arguing about hearsay.
alright, well, we're already stepping in 2007, and we know there's one number before 2007.
Okay. Cards on the table, better or worse than Heroes?
My lord, I think I might actually say it's better than Heroes.
I will defend Sonic 06 as much as I can. I think it should go comfortably in that nice spot nestled above Sonic Chaos.
You know what?
Or somewhere in that little window. Sonic 06 would have been an A-rank game if it was finished.
Yeah.
It was not finished. The product we got is messy, it is glitchy, it is buggy, but for the most part it works. For the most part you're getting a decent game. It is not the most optimal, but minute-to-minute gameplay is fine. Its biggest crime is it's really slow.
And the minute-to-minute load times.
Yeah, minute-to-minute load times. The story... The story's fine if you're not playing as Sonic. If you're playing as Silver, you're just watching the Android saga of Dragon Ball Z, and you're actually getting what might be the best Shadow story in the franchise outside of the original Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
You know, princesses, you know, all that, whatever shit. We all know, you know.
You know,
Like, I'd argue this Sonic's an improvement from his interpretation of Shadow.
This is the best Sonic after Adventure 2 and before, like...
Unleashed.
Yeah.
Which isn't saying a lot, but, you know, better than Riders, better than Shadow.
It's better than...
You know,
It's better than Renaissance era Sonic.
yeah. You know, it was cheesy, schmaltzy, kind of cringy, but I don't think it was terrible. You know, I'm not out here trying to say Sonic 06 is a great game, but I'm also not out here trying to say it's the absolute worst. It was a big disappointment, and I can understand people hating it. I played it when it came out, and I thought it was fine. You know, I don't know if I liked it better than Heroes, but I know I didn't put it down. I kept playing it.
Yeah.
I didn't 100% it, but I played a lot of that game. I really was to it during the year or two that I was playing it before Unleashed came out, and it was like the new Sonic game. Silver, you know, his mechanics are kind of wonky, kind of shitty, but I wouldn't quite say it's
I
a
think
downright miserable time.
I think when you're not in one of the bad stages, I think Silver's perfectly fine to play as.
Yeah, as long as you're not doing ball pushing puzzles or putting apples in the fucking barrel.
Honestly, I think the side missions might be the worst part of 06.
Oh god, I was thinking about the shitty driving. There's like a whole sub-story about Shadow racing in the Jeep, and it's like, that sucks. You don't even hear people talk about that one, but that one sucks.
The Trial of Love.
Oh. Well, I really do the trial of the platforms.
Yeah, that's the problem with Sonic 06. Like, yeah, I think it has a lot to offer. It has a lot of problems too.
And keep in mind, I have not played Project 06, so my opinion is not blinded at all by that game. This is solely based on the original 2006.
Speaking of solely, I like the area of Soliana. Like, if this game was fun, like I'd love it more than any other Sonic Hub world.
Yeah, there's a decent little bit of personality there. There's little dudes like Sonic Man. You know, not as flavorful as Sonic Adventure, but you know, it's okay. It's very okay. It is the most okay I think a Sonic game has been. Like, and I do want to actually say that I think that it improved on the whole multiple characters thing that they were trying with Shadow and Sonic Heroes by just having you just take the controller in your hands. Like, here's a dedicated segment where you play as this character. You know, I think it actually, if they had gotten it to work, I think that would have been a better compromise for a lot of people. Would have been just mid-level, just switching to another character.
It'd be really good if the characters were good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not gonna defend Knuckles and Rouge. They kind of suck at the game. They're kind of bad. Amy's kind of bad.
Why should jump arc like that?
Alright, I should stop talking because eventually I'm gonna be like, you know, maybe I should go below. But no, I think...
Alright, what's stopping it from going below is that it's Jesse Pinkman approved.
Yeah, Jesse Pinkman plays Sonic 06, man. And we've got Lacey Chambers as a princess, and one guy on Twitter will be very mad if I put it any lower.
You know, valid.
Alright. I think after that, because the next few games... Alright, where do we want to go? I can talk about the Rivals games, we can mutually talk about Sonic Rush, we can dunk on Chronicles, where do we want to go?
Oh, why did I put the Rivals game? Oh, they're right there. Yeah, if you just want to talk about... I mean, if you just want to talk the Rivals games, just get them out of the way before we talk about Sonic 07.
I will put... Sonic... Alright, so... They're probably... They're very Game Gear quality. I'm willing to put them in the Game Gears. I'm willing to put Sonic... Alright, so I am going to say put Sonic Rivals 1 in that spot to the left of Triple Trouble. Or maybe like right in that... Maybe it's like on par. And then Sonic Rivals 2, I'm willing to say, is like between 3D Blast and Sonic. Or maybe it's on par with 3D Blast. It feels like Battle mixed with the Game Gear games. They're not terrible. Honestly, maybe I'm being too nice to them.
Yeah,
racing games.
I played Sonic Rivals actually, and yeah, I think it would be right below Heroes.
Okay.
Like,
Sonic Rivals 2 doesn't really change a lot mechanically. I think it just kind of polishes. So fine, if you want to put Sonic Rivals 2 like around slightly below 06 or something.
yeah.
Because mechanically it doesn't change a whole lot. I don't think it does improve enough over it.
Yeah, Sonic Rivals
has
is such a
story.
profoundly empty game.
Yeah, Sonic Rivals 1 definitely is. Sonic Rivals 2 adds a lot more. There's boss battles. They have 2 characters per story, and you actually swap between the characters. So like the first act will be your character, the second act will be a boss battle, the third act will be your partner character, and then the fourth act will be a traditional boss battle.
Yeah. Like, I almost want to put Sonic Rivals 1 below Sonic the Fighters.
I mean, I'm. That's about as low. You know, actually, I'm trying to think. Would I rather play Sonic Rivals 1 or play Sonic R? Yeah, you know what? Put it between the fighters and R. That's fine.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of it. Like, Rivals 1 does not have much going for it.
But Sonic Rivals 2, I do really think. The only thing about Sonic Rivals 2 is that it kind of suffers the hero's problem of, I don't even know if there's a final ending, because you have to, it has like completion percentages of beating the story for all 8 characters, and this is like a 7-act game. Like there's 28 levels if you count, well, okay, technically 14 levels and 14 boss fights for each of the 8 characters. So I have no idea if there's even a final story. And a lot of it, the story is recycled because you are playing the same story twice. You're just getting a couple unique cutscenes per character. But it's fucking, like, full of voice acting. Like,
Yeah.
it is like, if you are nostalgic for that era of Sonic voice acting and that era of the Sonic characters, and you've not played Sonic Rivals, you're gonna get so much tasty character interactions and lore and little bits, even though everything's contrived that it has to be a race and they can't just talk, but you know, whatever. You gotta make a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to put it there. I could... I think I'm fine with it kind of being there.
Are you ready to talk about open the storybook? Ready to make believe board?
Bro, I wish we had I almost want to talk about the party mode at the bottom. Just put it like at the bottom right here.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I think Secret Rings is hot dog water.
Secret Rings has dropped so much over the years for me. Alright, let's first talk, get out of the way. The story's alright.
Yeah, story's alright.
No. I think it is superseded by its sequel in every way in terms of presentation, but I think on its own merits, it's not the worst. I do think it's incredibly stupid that you get a credit sequence before you even fight the final boss.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know if I got much else nice to say. I don't think that I'm very tolerant of weird Wii controls. I am tolerant of the weird motion controls. But I can't think of a scenario where I'd be like, yeah, I want to play that game. I think I'd rather... Alright, well let me just ask you, how low is this going?
Top of E.
Top of V. You think you'd rather play Sonic Shuffle and Tails Adventure?
Honestly,
Labyrinth, Blast, Riders.
like, at least I'll be confident in my ability to control those games.
Also, do you think we should possibly shift a couple down on D tier? Do you think it's maybe a little crowded?
Yeah, I think we need to get that. I think we need to get that trio at the bottom of D down in E. I don't think.
I think at this point we've proven now that E doesn't necessarily mean it's a completely irredeemable game. It's just like
It's bad, and I think all 3 of those things are pretty bad. Like,
also, I'm wondering when we're gonna start filling out more of SNA.
yeah, no, this started to become a very pessimistic video.
Yeah, we might shift some stuff up and down. I guess we'll kind of see as we go, because I mean the negativity ain't gonna stop. There are a lot of bad games, so we might refresh. We might move some stuff up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna consolidate this a bit, but I'm sorry. It's just these. It is hard to.
Like, I think the key thing is that C and up are all games we like.
Yeah.
And that's important to state. So, like, you know, while the upper echelon doesn't seem very highly populated, we still like and still would enjoy playing anything from C upwards.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we going now? We going Rush? We going Chronicles?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about Rush before they get tossed aside.
Better or worse than the advanced games?
I think they're a little worse.
I think I can make that argument. I think Sonic Rush... Honestly, I think Rush 1 and 2 both cancel each other out with their qualities.
Yeah.
Rush Adventure does some things better than Rush 1, vice versa. So honestly, I think they're going to kind of hang out in the same spot.
I think I'd put them at the very top of C, just mirroring Advanced 1 and 3. Just at the top of
Yeah, actually, you know, I think I want to put Rush Adventure maybe a little bit lower, because I'm thinking about it. Level design in Rush Adventure, I think, is some of the blandest.
And you also have to kind of, like,
Be
grind
recreated.
for stuff, right?
Yeah, so I think Rush Adventure, very similar to Rivals 1 to Rivals 2, but in reverse. I feel like Rush Adventure, it's not bad, but I think it feels a lot more hollow.
You think, like, on the same level as Battle?
Uh,
A little lower?
I'm starting to think a little lower. Honestly, I'm thinking it's like around the Game Gear games. Yeah, you know, yeah, it's better than Heroes, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think it's kind of in that jumble of Game Gear games.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Damn line or not. We're probably gonna start pushing things up the tier list soon.
Alright. It's hanging on to C tier for dear life. Huh.
Alright, Joe, you're the RPG man. Tell me about Sonic Chronicles.
I've not played it.
You haven't played it?
No, and
I've played through that game like 5 times. Sonic
alright,
Chronicles
I think it's because
is-
I find the DS profoundly uncomfortable to use.
I like it more than Riders and Advance 2 and Blast and SIDX. I'm not gonna say I like it better than Sonic R and CD. It's got a remarkably okay story. The combat is make or break it for you. I think. I mean, I also like playing the Mario and Luigi RPGs, so I'm more used to those like time-sensitive attacks. For a while, it was the best version of Big the Cat. Honestly, it's still my rank up, like in the top 3 best Big the Cat uses. The BioWare like character branching, it wasn't very complex, but it did actually lead to some interesting character story stuff. The Echidna tribes and all that shade were kind of an interesting story angle. Yeah, I like playing this game, but I'm not gonna say it's very good, so I'm willing to say it's very much like a Sonic R, where it's like, this game's not actually good, but I like playing it, and I think it's fun.
Alright, so right in this little cluster.
Yeah, I would say maybe push the other stuff over.
Yeah, I'm about to move some things around.
Yeah, definitely by the end of this, we're gonna be pushing. I have a feeling Sonic 2, Sonic 1 are gonna be moved up to A tier, just to, for necessity's sake.
I've started to think, Sonic. I think this trio, Riders, Advance 2, and Blast, are gonna start sliding down to make room for some other games. Alright.
Alright. Hit it, boys.
Unleash the Black Knight.
Well, Unleashed came first, and I want to talk about Unleashed.
Yeah.
Alright, Joe. You are gonna have to convince me that this is not an S tier game, because I think it is an S tier game.
Alright, I'll definitely say this very well might be the second best 3D Sonic game. I don't like the boost formula, but I do think that as far as this game goes, it was used relatively effectively. The metal system is a little annoying. Those Werehog stages are a little too long for their own good.
I will make the argument that the only major flaw in this game would be the metal system. It is a bit too arbitrary, and you do have to kind of go out of your way to complete. I mean, if you play the Werehog levels, you know, as like a collectathon beat 'em up, and you get all your medals in the Werehog levels, you can kind of ignore them in the daytime stages and get through the game. But yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think the medals may actually bring it below.
like, I personally think I'd put it right above Adventure 1 in A tier.
I definitely know it's in that bubble. I am thinking about the medals though, and I am wondering if Adventure 1's you can just beat it without trying is better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think we also need to keep in account that for the longest time, Unleashed didn't particularly run the greatest.
No, it ran fine. It was just the one level that had a
Yeah.
frame issue. I wouldn't say that one level is
Alright.
like tantamount for it. It was really only the water level that had
Alright,
frame
fair.
issues. And it was mostly in auto run segments and like boosting on the water, which was mostly automated. So yeah, I'm fine with putting it above Adventure. I
Yeah.
generally say that I prefer it's usually right behind Adventure 2 is my favorite Sonic game. So yeah, if you want to put Adventure right below Unleashed, I'm fine with that.
Alright.
Yeah, the medals are really the only thing for me because I think Unleashed has the best boost level design. I think it is incredibly well thought out. It is incredibly well built for the mechanics. I think the Werehog levels are fun. I think they are solidly built. The biggest problem is people do not want them because they want to play the boost levels. But they are perfectly. If this was Knuckles, you'd play him and just deal with it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't complain. If that was Knuckles instead of a Werehog, it has possibly the best story outside of maybe like Adventure 2 and maybe our next game.
Yeah.
But
And I want to preface this that before Frontiers came out, this is probably the last Sonic game that felt like a full product. I don't know if you agree.
Unleashed.
Huh?
Yeah, I'd make the argument for that. Contrary to one of the games coming up, I don't know if I'd fully agree, but you know, I see where you're coming from. Poyos Unleashed, fantastic, really well done. Bro, I know we're not trying to rank music, but holy shit, some of that music.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's no way. There's no way I'm not gonna put that soundtrack in the top 5 best Sonic soundtracks of all time.
Like, and there's so many songs that like you don't even like you think of the obvious ones like Rooftop Run, you think of the Egg Dragoon fight, you know, all that stuff. But then you think about the more incidental tracks, like the ambient music that plays when you're in Chunnan at night, and it's like so soothing. The fight against the Gaia Phoenix has like this amazing big brass. Also, just Sonic is probably his best personality-wise in this game, outside of like. Honestly, I don't know. This might be Sonic's again. The next game that we're going to talk about might be the only other one.
Yeah.
But this, for a game that plays good, this is probably like one of Sonic's best interpretations. He's funny, he's quippy, but he also has like that wholesomeness and that sort of good energy to himself.
Yeah.
Also, I recently heard it again and I can't get the damn line out of my head. I know little girls with it who can use a hammer better than you. Well, one anyway. Bro, I love how savage Werehog Sonic can get. Dude, he's like ready to kill Eggman by the end of that game. He is pissed the fuck off. Like, Sonic is like so like he gets so much passion out of Sonic in this game. Like he genuinely cares about his new best friend Chip. And maybe
Yeah.
that's why Tails just gives up being useful in later games. Because he knows he got replaced by a goddamn chipmunk.
Yeah, and once again, with the exception of the game right after this, it's also probably like the last time Sonic was written well in a game for a long time.
Yeah. I think, you know, I think time has been very good for Unleashed and really kind of appreciating it. The best boost level design, bar none.
The best
With a good
visuals
story.
in a Sonic game until
it's
this
the best
year.
looking Sonic game. No, it's still the best looking Sonic game. Frontiers does not look as good. Frontiers has too many. We'll get there, but Frontiers, even if Frontiers on a raw graphics level could look better, I think the art design of Sonic Unleashed is stronger, and I think Frontiers has a few too many technical issues visually.
I'm just
That's not necessarily me dunking on Frontiers. I'm just saying I think Unleashed
Yeah.
can't be beat. Its art style is like timeless.
I'm just remembering that tweet where someone's like, Greece is such a beautiful place, and one of the screenshots is from Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, dude. It looks like real life. Oh yeah, and that's how they should do humans in Sonic. Like, make them look like that. They look all cute and cartoony, you know? They had a roadmap of that game. They knew what they were doing, and then the reviews came out and reviewed worse than 06, and they backpedaled. We'll get there. We'll get to the results of that. Sonic Unleashed was the first Sonic game that was really developed by the Japanese Sonic team, as Yuji Naka left during mid 06, and they more or less disbanded the Sonic team we knew
Yeah.
and sort of reconstructed them with the Japanese developers. So, Unleashed definitely has sort of the startings of a lot of the things that we're gonna have issues with going on. In isolation, Unleashed was a great game, but I also won't argue that it did kind of start some of the trends that I'm not a big fan of coming
Yeah.
up. But as a solo product, that's kind of how I always felt. Like it was like, all right, this is sort of the game. We're gonna get things back on the track, and then after this one, things are gonna really start picking up. We're gonna really start bringing the old cast back, you know, all that. This is kind of like a chill game,
Yeah.
only to be followed by many more games that are the chill game before the real game.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been dancing around enough. Let's talk about Black Knight.
Black Knight is the game with so much good going for it, except for the game.
I think the gameplay is more fun than Sonic and the Secret Rings.
I mean, that's not hard.
I think the gameplay is fine. I think the levels are fine.
Yeah.
My gut instinct is to say it's around Sonic Battle tier, but I don't know if you think that the gameplay is particularly worse, that you might want to bring it down lower.
I'm not gonna fight you on that position. Like, I'd put it right by Rush.
Yeah, I think in that sort of middle ground, I would say, between the two. I
Yeah.
think Sonic Battle, in terms of like, these are games that are solid enough in their gameplay, but we like them more for like their story and their lore implications and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that
Black
area.
Knight is the best story, or debatably the best story in the franchise.
top 3.
Yeah. Great story. Probably the last, like the best voice acting you got out of this cast before they got recast. They really went out with a bang. It felt, despite being a spin-off game about Sonic using a sword, it felt like it was the end of an era. Like they had the whole like Open Your Heart music video in there using fan art that was traced and stolen because they didn't approve that, but yeah.
Yeah.
They had remixes of adventure songs. It felt like this was the send-off to the adventure era.
Yeah. Like, in my folders, I actually have this at the end of the Dark Ages folder.
I mean, yeah, I would imagine medieval time would be the end of the Dark Ages. Or
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah, much like the actual medieval period, it kind of bled into the Renaissance.
Yeah, the worst part about the game is really the combat stuff, the mechanic stuff, the crafting stuff, all the the talking to townspeople so you can get rings and items and crap. It's like, who cares? Play through Black Knight one time, get through the end of the story, have a good time, move on. Unlike Heroes, you're not required to play a whole bunch of extraneous repetitive content in order to get to the end. You don't have to replay levels like in Secret Rings as well.
Yeah.
I think we were on the verge of getting an actually pretty solid game had they continued to a third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the third one never came about. I think it would have been cool if they had done like a... I always felt like they were going to do like a Pirates game or something.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean or something. That felt like where they were going to go with the third one.
I've generally heard it was either like people were thinking or like speculating about either Pirates or Greece. Like ancient Greece.
We just had Greece and Sonic Unleashed.
Ancient Greece.
Yeah, I think I would have stuck with the Pirates. I mean, Sonic Prime proved that they want Sonic and Pirates.
Alright, regardless, we got neither.
You know, we're arguing about things that don't exist. Alright, so are we going to talk about... I can't even say the sentence because either way it's not going to work. So which are we talking about next?
You want to get Sonic 4 out of the way?
Yeah, get the safer discussion out of the way first. So let's talk about Sonic 4 Episode 1.
Congealed mediocrity.
It is poop, but it is not the worst thing I've ever played. Better or worse than Advance 2?
Oh god, it's on that level, isn't it?
Better or worse than Sonic CD?
A little worse. Like, Sonic CD's transgressions are not so major to put it below Sonic 4. Not even I'm that mean to Sonic CD.
Yeah. Yeah, like, the left half of D tier are still games that have quality. I'd say really once you get to SADX, Steam, and Chronicles is really where we're having a scrape to find if this game's actually any good.
Yeah.
Remember when we were kind of nice to Sonic Blast, and now it's like leading the back of the pack of the D tier, barely surviving, not getting pushed into E tier.
There's just this huge wave of below average that's just like... It's that perspective, man. Like, we were waiting through the Game Gear games. And now it's like... Sonic 4 Episode 2, let's just...
Bro, I think I've played more of this on my iPad at school with the free demo, because I don't think I actually played the game. I think I only played like a few levels as a demo.
Oh, so...
I don't have much of an opinion about this game.
I've-
It's better, but I don't... Unlike in Sonic Advance 3, I don't think the team dynamic's actually fun here, because it feels like just an excuse for gimmicky bullshit.
Yeah, it's just basically like a couple times you use the Super 69 attack.
Yeah, I think...
Or you
I
fly.
think it's better. I appreciate they tried to fix this franchise and just started from the ground up. I think it is better. Alright, I'm having a hard time deciding if I would put it... Cause I'm thinking that, like, upper D. Like, I think
Right
it's
next to
better.
Shadow.
Oh, I'd rather play Shadow. I don't know if you'd rather play Shadow Sonic 4 Episode 2.
God, I think they're in the same tier. Well, obviously, but... Oh, lordy. Lord.
You know, just put Sonic 4 Episode 2 above both of those. Just make it easier. I'm okay with saying that Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a better game than Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, look, we're arguing over, like, 4 out of 10s here.
That's a pretty big 4. Alright. Oh god, I'm not ready.
Alright, it's time. We gotta talk about the big, well, not really that big, but important.
Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like, and we'll be back for next time.
Alright, you serious?
How's it going?
Alright, let's do this. Sonic Colors is, not good.
Alright, now, Sonic Colors... Alright, with perspective, it's not gonna be in the bottom, but it's definitely going down there. It's definitely at the... It is... Sonic Colors is one of my most hated video games, if not... We did a little behind the scenes for you guys. We did a mini series that never got released where we ranked games for every year in the 2010s and then had a culmination of the best and the worst of the decade. And at least for me, I concluded that Sonic Colors was the worst game released. Not the worst. You understand what I mean. I'm not saying it's like functionally broken mechanically, but like it has no redeeming values for me. I'm sorry. I do not think this game is fun. I'm gonna put it like I'm not an idiot. Alright, hang on a second. I think before we put Sonic Colors, I think we need to just move things down to E tier a little bit.
Alright.
We need to move Blast, we need to move Riders. I think Sonic 4 and Advance 2, are they staying in D tier or are they going down to E?
I think 4 and Advance 2 have just enough going for them to be the bottom of D. Like, I don't know, it feels disingenuous to put them that low.
But yeah, let's just move Riders and Blast down to E tier. Because I'm honestly gonna stop and think, like...
Yeah, no, I'm gonna move some things around while you're pondering that.
I honestly think... I am gonna say that I think Sonic Colors belongs between SA1DX Steam and Chronicles, but above Sonic 4 Episode 1 and Advance 2.
Yeah.
I think Sonic Colors has terrible gameplay. That Sonic sucks to play as. His jump is shit. His boost is completely neutered. 3D is basically a non-existent feature. You like Tropical Resort Act 1? That's a great level. I sure wish the rest of the game could be like that. That level's almost a fucking lie. That is like the only 3D level you get in the whole game, and everything else is 2D, and it's not good 2D.
No.
It is rough. It is unpleasant. Sonic's jump arc is terrible. The Wisps are a gimmicky, shitty mechanic that do not improve the gameplay. They stop the gameplay and interrupt it. And they fuck with the progression of the game, because any other Sonic game, you could just play through the level and you could get everything. Not in Sonic Colors, you have to go and wait until you get the whiffs before you can come back and use them. I don't like that in my Sonic games. I want to finish everything in one shot. I should be able to get an S rank first shot. If I'm good enough, I shouldn't have to wait for a power-up to decide I'm good enough. I think the game doesn't look very good. Now to be fair, I have not played Wii Unleashed. I think Sonic and the Black Knight looks better than Sonic Colors. I think Sonic and the Black Knight has better art direction. I think Sonic Colors looks flat. It looks dull. And speaking of flat and dull, let's talk about the characters, the voice acting. They decided to change the voice actors, and please mean no disrespect to the actors. Roger Craig Smith is a great actor, but I think he was a terrible Sonic, and I think this is a terrible showing of him. I think he sounds like a douchebag. He's an asshole. He's basically the antithesis to the Sonic we had gotten in Black Knight and Unleashed. He just seems like he's trying to be an ironic, funny guy.
It's like a parody of Sonic.
Tails is also kind of jaded and bitter. He'll get worse. Don't worry. This is actually of the 2010s. This might be the best Tails, only by the margin of every other version. So much worse.
And
There's no other characters. They continued no other main characters. Unless you play the DS version, then they're all there. By the way, we're not talking about the DS version. Neither of us played it. It's Sonic Rush 3, so it's probably around Sonic Rush tier or something. I'm sure the Wisps actually work in 2D. It's got a real final boss. Instead of fucking Eggman Robot number 87.
remember the mind control subplot that they used once?
There's only 3 fucking bosses because they just reused. Half of the levels are just recycled from other level. There's only 3 acts per level, but the other 3 acts are just recycled for shitty minigames, and they suck. How many times do I have to chase the robot to get fucking rings or whatever? That's lame. That's not cool. You have about as much actual level geometry as a Genesis game. By taking out the Werehog and not putting anything substantial in, you just gave me padding. You gave me wasted content.
You gave me Unleashed, but less.
You gave me less Unleashed without any of the good stuff.
Yeah, like that's the real problem with Colors, is that what is it offering you? It's like an exaggerated version of what I said Heroes was for Adventure 2. It's just what you got last time, but like less and worse.
The story sucks. The characters suck. The game doesn't look good. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the soundtrack. I don't think it's terrible, but the electronic techno thing is not my vibe. That's the exact kind of music that made me hate pop music in the late 2000s. Keep in mind, I was also like 14, 15 game came out, and I didn't play it until like 2012 or 2013. So I was in that right age to really hate like things like this. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie that there is some particular bias, but I fucking hate the soundtrack to Sonic Colors. There's some good tracks. Tropical Resort. It's bad. I think Aquatic Park has a good song.
It does.
I'm sorry, I think this is one of my least favorite Sonic soundtracks as well. It's not clicking with me. I don't like it. Yeah, for me, Sonic Colors has like no redeeming values. I think on a base level, it's a functional video game. But I think that Sonic was fine before. I don't think we needed to go back to the basics. You know, I think Sonic Unleashed was fine.
Yeah.
No, I can't justify putting it. I can't put it much lower because it is a functional video game and it has at least qualities that prove it was finished. Beyond that, I can't and I'm not gonna argue with you about Advance 2, because just looking at the two side by side, I'd rather at least suffer through Colors. Advance 2 just looks miserable.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about Colors? Do you want?
I mean, you've pretty much said it all. Like, look, this game's biggest contribution to society, if, the franchise didn't cling on to this game unhealthily for far too long, is a meme. No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me. Like, yeah, that...
Saving nose hair? That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I gotta start using that.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, this game just offers very little of substance. And it's kind of the epitome of what I kind of just don't like about the boost formula. It's flat and basic at the best of times, and at the worst of times, it's stiff and awkward.
God, speaking of stiff and awkward, the sidestepping in this game, which is just on a goddamn grid. And also the drifting, it's like a fucking weird Mario Party minigame.
Right. Here's a question to everyone out here. Has anyone had fun using the Cube Wisp ever?
I think there's a reality where Sonic Colors could have been a good game. Could have been a great game. Maybe if it came out on HD consoles and used the HD Unleashed engine, maybe that could have been the reality too. I mean, it wouldn't have fixed the narrative problems, but it would look better. Probably would have played better. Probably would have integrated the wisps better. Like, I fear eventually playing Sonic Unleashed for Wii because I'm worried that it's just going to be colors but worse, but bastardizing a game I like a lot. So, we have not talked about Sonic Unleashed, and I'm afraid to play that game. I'm genuinely like, I don't want to play this because it's going to make me upset.
Maybe if enough of
Hey,
you
if you want-
subscribe.
I was gonna say, if you want to make me suffer, you can subscribe. I'll play it.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we going next here?
Alright, we have, and this.
You know, let me just do a palate cleanser real quick. I know we're jumping ahead in the timeline a little bit. Let me talk about some of the mobile games for a few minutes because
Yeah, in the Renaissance, all we have left are Generations Lost World and a couple of these mobile games. Oh yeah, I forgot Sonic Runners, but it literally doesn't exist anymore to defend itself.
Yeah, Sonic Runners isn't even that high anyway. Sonic Jump, fuck, I don't know. Put it like next to Sonic Rivals 1 or something. Like there. No, you know what? Put it below. Put it underneath Sonic CD.
Yeah.
Put it like right SADX.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve more than Sonic CD. Let's not kid ourselves here. The only reason why we're talking about Sonic Jump is that you mentioned it in alongside a bunch of other games.
Sonic Dash. Sonic Dash is kind of fun. I'd say like it's probably the best utilization of Sonic in that sort of form. Right? I'm getting Sonic Dash is the right one. Fuck, could I double check? Getting my games confused here. Because Sonic Forces, I'm surprised you put Sonic Forces Mobile because Sonic Forces Mobile is basically just Sonic Dash, but like with multiplayer. So that's fine. I'll put Sonic Forces Mobile then. Sonic Dash. I'm just triple checking. Yeah, Sonic Dash. I'll say like, yeah, I'd say put it above Fighters, but not by much. It gets the job done. It's the best use of the Zeddy ever. It's fine. Sonic Forces Mobile. Now.
Guns.
Put it around Sonic Jump. Put it around Sonic Jump. It's not really all that good.
Alright.
Wait, yeah, you know, put it right by colors. Yeah, I'd say it's on colors tier. Alright. Quick and easy palette cleanser. Now, thought something a little better.
Sonic Generations.
Alright. So, this is definitely going to be hitting a higher end. Let's do the opposite. Let's talk about the bad first.
This game has a gaping hole where its narrative should be. Like, this game's clearly not finished.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not finished. I think it's just...
It's bare bones.
It's very bare bones. I think it was deliberately like this. But yeah, I think it's very bare bones. It was very much focus on the gameplay element. Narrative, it's even more of a step down, but that's just because there is no narrative.
Yeah. But you know, this is a big celebration of Sonic's history up to that point.
Yeah. The level designs were good. The gameplay was solid. I think level design, I don't think I like it as much as Unleashed. I feel like it's maybe a little too loose, a little too wild at think certain elements about the mechanics on the minutia I'm not as much a fan of. I think Unleashed were handled a little better. It did fix the light speed dash though. Or no, I'm sorry, not the light speed dash. They did fix that too, but they fixed the homing attack instead of mapping it to the boost button. So that alone is like a pretty big plus. Where do you rank this compared to the Genesis Sonic games?
Oh man, like I'm trying to think. Like I have my issues with Generations, but I feel like it's a complete package. Like, oh man, I think it's right up there, at least with 1 and 2.
Do you think it's better or worse than Sonic 1? Or which would you rather play?
I could say Generations because it has Sonic 1 in it, but wow, that's a toughie. Probably Sonic 1, but not by much.
Okay.
Alright, I think we're gonna move Sonic 1 and 2 up a bit.
Yeah. I think I'm willing to say I feel like Generations and Sonic 1 I'm willing to put on an even tier. I feel
Yeah.
I personally would rather play Generations than Sonic 1. And I might be more willing to play Sonic Generations than Sonic 2, but I also don't think I can in confidence say that Sonic Generations is a better video game than Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I think Sonic Generations is just overall just better. Like it mechanically plays better, and but I think Sonic 2's just got sharper level design and just has more soul to it.
Indeed.
I thought you were moving it up like to the next tier or something.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could do that.
Unless you don't think that. Well, do you think Sonic 2 is A tier now or B tier?
Yeah, I'll put Sonic 2 in the bottom of A, and then I'll have 1 and Generations a bit more comfortably at the top of B.
Alright, real quick, we didn't put it on here, but let's throw... I would like to put Sonic on Sonic Generations for 3DS. I think I'd like to put it below the advanced games, but above Sonic Rush. I think
Alright.
it is the best Sonic Rush game. I think it is a bit lacking in content, a little bare bones. But I think mechanically it's just really solid. So, or you can just put it above Sonic Rush. Or, yeah, you can put it there. It's fine. Yeah, just Generation 3DS or whatever.
Yeah.
Spoiler, but we didn't play Lost World 3DS, so that's not getting talked about.
Yeah.
But it is time to talk about it.
Oh man, Sonic Lost World is a
Gonna be a toughie.
it's honestly like there are good. I guess much like Adventure 1, there's a lot of good here, but there's a lot holding it back.
It definitely starts to taper off near the back half. The levels just kind of start to suck.
They really start to lean on a lot of gimmicks.
Yeah, a lot of gimmicks. A lot of the level design kind of just starts to get kind of generic and plain. Start using the wisps a lot more. It starts to feel like they started running out of time by the second half.
Yeah, and while like you could say like Adventure 1 has a really nice immersive story that you could still enjoy in a genuine manner, Lost World's writing cannot save it.
Yo, Lost World's writing might actually be worse than Colors.
I think it has the worst writing.
You know, I think that's going to be an argument to be made coming up, but it's pretty bad.
Like it's down there. Like that's the thing.
However, I think that Lost World was really mechanically the blueprint that should have been followed. I think its gameplay is really solid and has a lot of potential. Sonic moves at the right speed. Frontiers shows that the whole having like the boosting and the speed be controlled by a button and parkour actually. Yeah, Frontiers really seems like we'll talk about it. But Frontiers actually seems like it takes a lot of cues from Lost World mechanically specifically. So I think in that regard alone, because a lot of the gameplay from that really kind of the wall running. Oh my god! The more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, Frontiers really did take a lot from Lost World.
Yeah.
So,
Although,
I think mechanically Lost World's really fun. I think the first half has some really great level design. I want to put it higher, but I know we can't put it as high. I want to put it higher, but I also know in my heart that it's not as good as some of the other games. Like, if the game was fully as good as the first half, we'd have a fantastic... I'd be willing to excuse a terrible story. If the gameplay... If we had a great level design the whole game through, if the level design didn't just shit the bed halfway through, this would be an easy contender for A. Maybe high B. I think...
Are we putting this at the bottom of B and moving up the advanced games? Or you think this is the top of C?
I think I want to put it right next to Black Knight because it's the exact opposite problem I have with Black Knight. Black Knight's not fun to play, but it has a great story. Sonic Lost World is a terrible story, but it's pretty fun to play. I think they're very equivalent quality.
You know what? That works for me.
Although, yeah, I would say put it like under. Do you want to move? Do you want to move the advanced games up a little bit and move Generations 3DS and Rush up, or do you think that?
I'll move Generations 3DS, but I'm not letting you put Rush in B tier.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. Generations 3DS, I think, is on par with the advanced games. I think it has some phenomenal level design. Yeah. I can't believe Mean Bean Machines in our fucking top 10. How did this happen? How did you let this happen, Joe?
It's worthy of a promotion.
And at this rate, that's not changing.
Yeah, there's nothing that's gonna really knock this thing down much. Mean Bean Machine is ironically one of the better Sonic games. It's so good they brought it back for Mania.
I hate that I can't argue with you because that feels wrong. Feels wrong to have Mean Bean Machine so high up. But Puyo is such a good puzzle game. It's such a fundamentally good puzzle game that just has a stupid skin on it.
Yeah.
But it's such a good game.
Alright, are you moving DX just a little bit above Mean Bean Machine, or you think they should remain tied?
Having Mean Bean Machine this high that I can't argue with you. I don't even know. If you think DX should be higher, then fine. That'll probably make me more comfortable. I think Mean Bean Machine shouldn't even be like as above the advanced games, but I'm not like gonna argue with you there.
You can't argue!
I mean, I could argue that I'd rather play the advanced games than Mean Bean Machine, but I'm also not willing to split hairs here.
Then I'll play you in a game of Mean Bean Machine and we'll both have a great time.
So...
Alright,
Hang on real quick before we continue, make sure it's all good, right? 'Cause the screen looks like you're moving around the tier list a bit.
yeah.
Make sure it's on the screen, right? Probably just move those last four up, so they don't keep moving the slide.
Alright. Speed Battle. It's in with the other games of this era. Alright. Alright, I guess we have to talk about one of the elephants in the room.
Yeah, we didn't put Sonic Schoolhouse, so put that in null space.
Alright.
We also didn't put Knuckles Chaotix.
I completely forgot that game existed.
That's why we're putting them in null space. Before we put the Boom games, because we haven't played those. And we're gonna throw Sonic Boom in there.
Yeah, we
I
had.
have Sonic Boom sitting on my shelf. We've been waiting for the right time to play it.
Life just got in the way.
It's been how many years since I bought you a copy of Sonic Boom back in like 2016 or 2017 or something, and now we have two copies of this game, and neither one of them has touched our Wii U's.
We have to save an occasion for this. Oh man. Oh yeah, and there's also the 3DS games, which I heard range from below average to average.
What 3DS games? Are you talking about 3DS ports?
Uh,
We're not talking about 3DS Lost World, because that's poop and I haven't played it.
No, I'm talking about
any of the Boom games.
Yeah, Shattered Crystal and Fire and Ice.
Yeah, those games are apparently pretty decent, but haven't played them, so.
Yeah, that's why I just said Sonic Boom as a whole is just in null space, because, well.
Alright, well, real quick lightning round. If you were to rank the Sonic Boom TV show and put it on here, where would that go?
If we're putting... Oh man, on a later date, we're gonna have to rank the TV shows.
I'm just saying the Boom show. We need something to talk about Boom.
Upper C, lower B?
It's a good show. It's dumb as hell, but it's funny. Yeah, I'd say it's around like Lost World or Battle tier.
Yeah.
Alright. So I guess for Team Sonic Racing, are you just covering like all the Sonic All-Star Racing games kind of under one umbrella?
Alright, that's the thing. I'm not covering the first two games because are they tech? I guess they have Sonic's name on them, but do they really count as Sonic games?
I don't know. I mean, have you played Team Sonic Racing? I didn't even know you owned it.
We played it with each other when it came out. We played it.
I mean, I remember platinuming the game. I don't remember playing multiplayer. Alright, well.
I would like to try. It has introduced everyone's favorite game, Dodonpa.
Yeah, Dodonpa. Well, no, I remember playing the game. I just don't remember playing multiplayer.
And that.
What? Oh, Slingshot.
And that weird.
Park bench sound. It was one time, Rich, one time.
and that. And that weird render of Zavok, which looks like he didn't have a functioning liver.
What's that really good Sonic and Silver exchange for? Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, you need to have like smack talk while you're racing, and then he just tells Silver what to say, and then Silver just says it. It's like, ah, no, the magic's gone. All right, Team Sonic Racing. I don't like how it plays as much as Sonic All-Star Racing Transforms, but fine. It's very fine. Where would you put it? I feel like it's like right. I feel like it's exactly Sonic Rivals 2 tier.
Yeah.
You would argue for it to be higher.
I can't really argue it for it to be much higher.
And would you rather play it over Sonic 06?
I mean, I'd rather complete it over Sonic 06, so that's just because it takes less time.
Yeah, I'm comfortable putting it right in Sonic Rivals 2 tier. Try a slingshot.
Yeah, it's like I've mentioned it before, but like it feels like a filler episode. But it's a Sonic game with a story. I think they even call back to it in Forces. No, they came out after Forces. Why did I even say that? My mind's melting. My brain is turning to scrap.
It's been generations since I've seen you, but we're gonna get to that after.
Alright, let's talk about the game that was supposed. Alright, this was supposed to hype up Forces. Sonic Mania is a critical darling. It's the game that's a love letter to classic Sonic. It's the game that did so well that they never followed it up for some reason.
Hey, they followed it up, Joe. There's a direct sequel, Sonic Forces.
Yeah, Sonic Forces. Yeah, so Sonic Mania. I don't know. It's a polished-looking classic Sonic game. It's got some amazing new levels and some frustrating bosses that I don't like. A lot of callbacks. Most of the stages are repeats, but they're like reimaginings of classic Sonic levels.
Yeah. That's what Sonic would look like if it was on Saturn. No, not like that.
And they brought back Mighty and Ray, and like they found new, exciting ways to make 2D Sonic characters. They brought Blue Sphere back, and you have to do it way too much to unlock stuff.
I feel like this praise is perhaps a little bit faint.
Yeah, like I have my grievances with it, but Sonic Mania is a blast to play. I'm just sprinkling it in because I don't intend on putting it in S tier.
Where do you intend on putting it? Do you think it's better or worse than Sonic 2?
Better.
I think it's better or worse than Adventure.
I personally think it's better, but I know you don't, so I'm gonna respect the hustle.
I personally just don't think, like, Sonic Mania is a fantastic game. I do not like playing 2D Sonic games basically at all. But I will argue that it is one of the best ones. I can't in good conscience say that I think I would ever want to play, even if I like the 2D Sonics. I think Adventure just brings more to the table and just has more meaning to me.
Yeah.
I think Mania did everything it could. So it's not a bad thing that it's where it is. You know, 5th place isn't so bad. Beat out almost the other Genesis games.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, it's like this was the game that brought Optimus back to the fandom for a few months.
Yeah. Been generations since I've seen you.
Sonic Forces.
This is why it's called War.
This game is a absolute mess.
I've been having a hard time continuing. When I first played through it and I platinumed it, felt pretty alright about it. I was a little beaten down by the repetitive nature of having to basically play a bunch of levels through with each animal species a bunch of times to get level ups and arbitrary stuff. But I mean, 100% achievements don't really count, I think, in this regard.
Yeah.
Just playing through the game, go through that. I think it's better than Colors, but I don't think by a whole lot. I think gameplay-wise, it's more fun than stuff like Heroes and Shadow, but I think the core gameplay loop is worse.
Half the levels barely even exist.
Levels barely exist. There's too much automation. Sonic has even less moves than he had before. The classic Sonic levels are terrible. They're just bad.
Even the music in those levels are bad.
Yeah. I think the Avatar levels might actually be my favorite. They feel like Shadow the Hedgehog or, you know, Heroes levels, which, you know, at this point sounds like a negative, but honestly that's kind of a positive here.
At this point in the franchise, that's really good.
You know, I'm starting to think that maybe we should consolidate S and A to one mega tier, and then sort of stretch these others out. Because now looking at it, I don't know if I really think that Heroes and Shadow should be that low. I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to restructure the whole thing if you don't think it's necessary. But I don't know. I really feel like, you know, in hindsight, it's kind of, when there's so many of those games clustered down together over there, kind of hard to really get the perspective of where.
We needed an F tier. Yeah, because let's not kid ourselves. Those upper tiers aren't the ones that are getting too crowded.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I kind of want to just slot it, like, right around, like, I feel like Sonic Rivals 1, Sonic R tier. I don't know. I don't feel like I can give it much more praise than that. I don't think it plays as good as. It feels like a worse Heroes or Shadow.
Yeah, and look where we put those.
But, like, looking at it, I kind of feel like those should be maybe a little bit higher. I mean, you might still argue that they shouldn't be, but I don't know. I kind of feel like when compared to the rest of the lot, like, they're really not that offensive. I mean, again, they're offensive, but, like, you gotta also have perspective of, like, what they're, you know, above. So.
Oh, alright.
Wish you had an easy drag tool, because you can drag everything from C over a little bit, and then I could argue that Heroes should be the bottom of C. But that would require a lot of work, and it's already a long enough video, so, you know. Maybe in post we'll just we'll clean this up, and then we'll do something with it.
We'll make a separate image at the very end with it all cleaned up.
Do we have anything we want to say about Forces?
Oh, man, I hate the bosses. Look very unfun.
Bosses aren't very fun. Story sucks.
Remember Null Space and they were trying to build it up as a big thing and it was like less than 15 seconds?
Yeah. Remember Tails?
Yeah, remember how they somehow got even lower than how Tails was?
Lost World Tales. We didn't even talk about Lost World Tales. Lost World Tales fucking sucked.
You boy.
Why are you trying to side with Eggman? Bro.
Dude,
if trying to fucking save the planet, man.
I'm pretty sure if Lost World / Forces Tales was in Sonic Adventure 2, I think the hero story would be half as long. And not for a good reason.
Yeah.
I think Eggman would have just killed him at Prison Island.
Yeah.
Sonic, help. You're losing to Chaos Zero.
Dude.
Chaos Zero, he's like the Raditz of Sonic.
Bro, it feels like they honestly forgot that they had to put Classic Sonic in and just decided to nerf Tails even more so they could justify having somebody to connect Classic Sonic to the story. Because, like,
look,
comes in, plays levels, and then leaves. He doesn't do anything to contribute to the story. Is he even in the final boss? I don't even remember.
No, he fights the panel. Is he?
I mean, he's not in the null space battle, right?
No. No, he isn't.
I mean, it doesn't even matter if he was. It's not like he did anything. I killed some dudes and I went home.
He fought the Egg Dragoon again. Oh, lordy. Yeah, Sonic Forces, Yeah, remember when Knuckles led an army and 80% of them got killed? Did Knuckles use Zap Brannigan strategies or something? I heard the Phantom movie has a preset kill limit. If we just throw more guys at them, they'll eventually reach the kill limit and deactivate.
Sonic's being tortured for 6 months and he doesn't even seem like he cares.
You can't break me. I'm already broken.
The generations.
Oh man, remember when Infinite was looking cool before the pre-release?
When he had that dope song drop, and I was like, oh, we're getting that Sonic Adventure 2 era back.
And then Infinite turned out to be a
The weenie, the weenie, super weenie, Junior.
he became the laughing stock amongst all Sonic villains.
And then they made DLC to show he's even bigger of a weenie.
Yeah, Infinite was so bad, people stopped making fun of Mephiles.
Oh, I'm saying is the episode of Shadow. DLC.
I know.
It made it worse. It made it worse.
Yeah, he's just some jobber mercenary that Shadow beat up.
He got all pissy that he got his ass beat by Shadow, and then he became... Bro, they somehow... They're gonna piss off a very different fan base here. But I get a lot of the absolute worst parts of Kylo Ren vibes from Infinite when I think about it.
He's meme Kylo Ren.
He's what a 13-year-old on Tumblr writes fan fiction about Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
I have to have the strength to do it. Do what? Be evil.
He's dollar store Vegeta.
Kylo Ren. You got the fucking mascot.
Yeah, nah, like, once Infinite dropped, people stopped making fun of the past Sonic villains.
Level design in Forces sucks. It is some of the most basic, generic drivel. It makes you appreciate each game before it. You know, I think in terms of level design, like, I think Forces might actually be worse than Colors, but I'm willing to say that I think Colors offends me more, and also it led to this. Like, Colors is directly responsible.
What are we putting Sonic Forces above Colors for? Really starting to think about it.
I think the Avatar levels are more fun. I think the game has more content.
Lord, you're right.
Like, I'm not saying it's by much, but I think it does slightly edge out.
Man. This section's just getting sad.
Do you think when we started this, you were going to be saying that Sonic Forces is worse than Sonic R?
You know, I didn't think it, but I think my heart was telling me that.
You know what? Can you move Sonic R in front of Sonic Rivals?
You want to swap R and Rivals? Yeah.
Just put Sonic 2 Game Gear with it. It's just easier. No, you know, just swap Rivals and regular Sonic 2 Game Gear. I think we're being a little harsh on that game.
Yeah. Sonic 2 Game Gear did nothing wrong except for the antline. I know a lot of people hate that thing.
Yeah, just swap R and Rivals. I'm feeling warmer about R.
Look at what Forces did.
They removed Sonic Aura. That's fun.
Alright, CD, come on, you gotta meet up with your buddy. Get away from Forces, he's a bad influence.
Get closer to Shadow. I'm actually now surprised that you were okay with putting Shadow above Sonic CD.
Yeah, I started thinking, how did you talk me into putting it there?
I don't know, I'm arguing. Stay there. Sonic CD's level design's so bad. Shadow has functional level design, it's just mediocre. Alright, now Frontiers is gonna be basically just me talking. And it's gonna be hard because I haven't finished the game. So I gotta go based on where I'm at, which is about almost being done, almost done with the second island.
Alright, so like halfway point, basically.
Yeah, I wanna... I am going to say... I think it is... I think recency bias is going to kick in, but I think I'm going to say it's below Generations in 1, but higher than DX. I think mechanically Sonic controls great. I think the story's finally at a place it needs to be. Honestly, I think I'm just saying it's below 1 in Generations to avoid recency bias, because frankly I think I'd rather put it higher, but I think we need to give it some more time to sort of settle and for me to finish the game, because I've also heard that the last 2 islands feel very tacked on out of the 5 islands in the game, so I need to get to that point. But I think even still, the quality of the early parts of the game far outweigh. Sonic Frontiers was weird because I got a terrible first impression playing it. I felt like it was the physics didn't feel right, the mechanics didn't feel right, the story was kind of rough. Once you get out of that forced tutorial and you really start exploring the island, the game really opens up. Once you start giving Sonic a couple speed boosters, some stat upgrades, start doing some of the optional dialogue, start talking to Amy, start saving the side characters, Sonic Frontiers. If you play Sonic Frontiers, I need y'all to listen to me out there on the internet. Skip 1-2 for the cyberspace. Just skip it. Do not. Just come back to it later. You will fucking hate yourself if you try to get all of the medals or all the achievements in 1-2 immediately. Just fucking leave it. I swear to God, that ruined my night when I was playing it. Just skip 1-2 entirely. Or if you need to play it, just play it once to get the minimum and leave.
Putting Sonic Frontiers up there has finally booted Bean Machine from the top 10. And that's only because Adventure 1's here twice.
But I think the story has been pretty solid so far. A lot of the same lore and a lot of the really good content that Adventure had. I'm very much reminded of Adventure 1. Great character interactions, great dialogue. Really interesting sort of plot revelations. The character themes are back. Sonic controls great. There's jank, but it's fun jank. Its biggest issue is just a lot of the content can feel very repetitive at times. So it feels like you're doing a lot of the same thing over and over. I think it's kind of stale. But I think overall, I really enjoy it. I think it's a good step forward for the franchise.
Yeah, optimism has been restored to this series.
Yeah. Alright, now looking at this, Joe. Is there anything you think you'd change? Anything you think you'd move?
I mean, I'd swap Mania and Adventure, but that's just me.
I mean, you want to put them in the same level?
I'll move Mania closer to it.
I mean, I don't care where the spaces are. I'm not factoring that in at all when it comes to where I consider them ranking. But yeah.
Yeah, like I think,
Sonic.
huh?
It's Sonic.
Yeah, yeah, like I think that they look nice together.
I mean, just slide 3 and 2 over. It looks silly to have them all the way over there for no reason.
Yeah, there's nothing to fill that gap now. Let's just clean this up a bit. Yeah. Come on. You're invited, Sonic 2. You've earned it.
Invited to the cookout.
You're invited to the cookout. We have hot dogs you just need to do a special challenge for. Alright.
I
Yeah.
was not expecting Free Riders to be the bottom, but at the same time,
Is there any Sonic game with less to offer?
well, to be fair, Free Riders shouldn't be on here because we haven't played it. But fuck it.
Look at
What
it.
do you-
Look
Can you really argue?
look at it. Look at this game and tell me there's a god.
I mean, spiritually, Pinball and Genesis are the bottom, but fuck it, Free Riders is just on there.
Free Riders is the perspective.
Is anyone gonna argue that
Yeah,
Free Riders?
are
is
you?
the worst?
Are you in the comments gonna be the person to defend Sonic Free Riders?
It's like a roller coaster.
Alright, Sonic Genesis, get on there. Like, I know there's a few fans of Spinball out there. I'm sorry. You know what? You get to have a few pixels over Sonic Genesis.
Then just Talk to Caves song
Yeah,
and the Sad Ann character.
Yeah.
There's no names.
if there were nerves, Spinball would be at least Tails Adventure level.
Oh, go right over Sky Patrol if they had nerves.
Yeah.
I feel almost bad having Sonic Blast in the bottom tier,
Yeah, it feels mean.
but at the same time, I can't argue that it's. I don't know. I can't.
Like, at best, it's tied with Advanced 2 and 4.
I'm trying to not argue. Are we gonna have a? Are we gonna make a movement?
Yeah, I'm gonna. We've treated this boy might not be right, but he is not deserved being down there.
I think it's really funny we have secret rings down there.
But
At the same- I also feel bad for Sonic Riders, because I know it has its fans, but I'm sorry, I can't. This is complete bias. I hate Sonic Riders. It is not a fun game.
and I
Sorry, I think it sucks ass.
don't like it enough to defend it.
So I'm sorry, Sonic Riders fans. I know that you're out there. That one's a complete petty shot, and because I can't put heroes and colors any lower, justifiably, I gotta sacrifice Riders to the wolves.
Yeah.
I had to fight to get Sonic Shuffle like more than halfway above E tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about this.
So obviously, this is how we feel right now, but it could change.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is a good sort of baseline. So if anyone wants to know what we think about Sonic, you can just look at this and like this is our pretty comprehensive guide. Not as much arguing as I guess we would have thought. I think our consensus on Sonic is pretty similar.
Yeah, like if I were to just do a list and you were to just do a list, I feel like most of the hierarchy would be the same. and just like a few of the top tiers would probably be swapped around a bit.
I'd have more 3D games in the top than 2D games. Top.
Yeah. But yeah.
Overall, I think I can agree with this. Sonic 3 Blast would probably want it being a top 10 game and everyone would hate me. But yeah. I think this works.
Yeah. I'd probably be attacked by a Blaze the Cat simp for putting Sonic Rush in D tier.
Oh yeah, Mario and Sonic. We're not talking about those. Those are developed by Nintendo. We're not playing the DS versions because we can't get rifles. Can't give Peach a gun.
I'm the only one with a gun license. Alright. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our Sonic tier list.
Don't look at the runtime, people. Just enjoy the show.
And we'll see you back at the table.
See ya.